Okay, here we go. Hello, man. It's a sunny afternoon on the north coast of America and northern basin of Lake Erie, where all the men are masculine and all the women are pretty. Uh, Today, we're going to take a look at a couple subjects. We're going to talk for a little while. If anybody wants to come in, just let us know, and we'll probably, unless you're a troll, let you come in and have your piece. We're here today with Joey, Life Tracker and Life Coach Program, and Trav, Yoga Master. You got to notice the sarcasm after a while in those comments and the things we write up there because it's just pure sarcasm. But yeah, today's a beautiful day. Went for a few bike rides. I can't remember if I shut the garage door. I hope I did. I wore down the battery on one and started it in on the other, which is a good thing. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of transcendence. In Mgtow, we're talking transcendence means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and we'll go over them all. And we look at transcendence as an act of rising above something to a superior state. I guess that would be transcend comes. In a lot of different meanings. It could be ego transcend from self to beyond, or it could be self transcendent to beyond the self to another. That's what we're probably going to talk about more, beyond the idea of self transcendence, where you have a connection or a link to another. And that's what the phenomenology of transcendence would go. There's spiritual transcendence, and we'll get in on this one, huh, Joey?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes, spiritual the beyond other in time, as in religion. There's ideas of a transcendence too that goes in and out of Mgtow. Now, the religious idea, you know how we all believe. And then the simp idea of transcendence, which I think we should cover pretty heavily, is the idea that there's a connection that goes from here to your special partner. You complete me.
Yeah, you are my destiny, like Marty McFly. And
yeah, you are my destiny, Marty McFly. And then there's the idea of ego transcendence. And I think this is the one that Barbarossa was trying to get to, which I have different ideas on the ego transcending beyond yourself, which is a good thing, which is my idea of transcendence, is rising above something, becoming superior at something, being better. We look at transcendence in that sense in Mgtow as we became monks. We became men above reproach. And if you look in the low bar, there's a kind of what I believe that is. And I'll read that in a little bit. But the idea of transcendence, maybe I'll read that now. This was a comment that I laid earlier to, I can't remember his name. And I do think there's an honest evaluation in ourselves when we get to Mgtow. There's an introspection. There are tools like the Johari window where you look at yourself, how people see you, what others think of you, and what you don't know about yourself. And we do that deep, dark introspection. And then we look at the dark psychology and personality traits of ourselves. And we do an honest assessment of ourselves. And this helps us better understand the relationship with others and ourselves and the world around us and how to fit in with the world around us. The hardest thing for a Mgtow to do is do that first introspection that in this type of transcendence, you're transcending from the simp, a Mgtow. And then you have to fall on that scale. Where do you fall on that scale at Mgtow? Are you a Mgtow monk where abstinence is you start at abstinence, or are you a Mgtow simp where you start at simpery and then you work your way out a little bit and try to pretend that you're a Mgtow? Wherever you fall on that, you have to start with the unfriendly truths that we were simps. We were taught to be simps. What we were like, how we over pursued females, and how we thought that was the greatest thing in the whole world, and how people responded to us, like feminism, how feminism responds to a PUA that over pursues. And then we transcended that state into another state where we're better people, we're friendly people, we're honest people, we're honest with ourselves about what we were, and we fixed ourselves. And that's what we'll talk about today. And how you doing, Joey?
Oh, I'm doing good. Yep. I'm in Kansas City, City of Fountains.
The city of Fountains. You went back to Kansas City?
Yeah, no, I just decided to stay.
Oh,
Oh,
you just
oh,
I thought you
no,
went
I'm
to,
in St. Louis. I'm
yeah, you thought you went up to St. Louis.
in March, but yeah,
Okay. And then you watched Hoka
yeah. No,
Junkyard.
Hoka's tracking me. Yeah, he's tracking me. He's got the Life Tracker program on, so I have to check in with him every time I travel. So trying to confuse the
Okay.
tracker, the Life Tracker. Yeah, no, I'm doing good though. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, thanks for doing the show. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, the PP tracker.
Yeah, the Carl Nassib tracker. Yeah, he
The
just wants to
Carl
make sure
Nassib.
everyone knows what he's doing with his PB. So
Okay, Gunda goes to. He wants to know why I don't talk to Lazarus because they don't come around. That's pretty much. If they come around, I talk to them. I treat. I went to a stage a few years ago where I had to examine myself, and I had to examine what I believed in this world. It was about 3 years ago, Joey, when I started doing I couldn't do casual cruelty no more. I
yeah,
had to look at myself, and then that seems to be it set a riff, and certain people started coming around, and I had to be honest with myself, and I started showing myself. Uh, so that bothered some people. If anybody would come around and they can talk, and I respect anybody, but if they don't come around, I can't force them to come around. So I answered Gouda Ghost's question, and Brissy Boy's in. So what we were talking about? Oh, Carl Nassif.
yeah. He's got a tracker on his
Yeah,
whatever, his private parts.
yeah. That whole he came out as the first gay, and to us, it's what we talk about all the time in here. Sexuality. Sexuality is not important in any other facet of life, and that's all being gay is. When you come out as gay, you're saying I like to sleep with other men. And that's about the physical aspects of sleeping with other men. Otherwise, it wouldn't be important. There's no such thing as a spiritual gay. You can't be spiritually gay. And so he's saying he's physically gay, and he desires other men. But that's what we talk about in here. We talk about having a little couth. What you don't talk about in the real world to other people. The default when he's playing football, I'm sure the default manners of that is the same as the default manners of a straight guy. It's asexuality. He doesn't think about that while he's on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it important to the rest of the world to know that?
I have no idea.
I have no idea why they would release that. And he came out in sort of a TikTok video or something.
That makes it even worse. Yeah.
What's that?
That makes it even worse, I think.
I tell you, he come out on a TikTok video and he says like he is like a broke back moment.
Yeah,
it's cringy. It's cringy because I wouldn't put up with that with a dude if he wanted to talk to me about his sexual exploits. I wouldn't put up with that with a woman if she wanted to force her sexuality on me. I wouldn't put up that with a gay person. And like I said, when I'm doing this, I'm Trav, the asexual.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I don't talk about my house or my bedroom. Or
what's he seeking? Validation? What do you think he's seeking?
Yeah, that's another form of validation seeking. That's pretty cringy. And I think it's to the asexual community, the people that understand asexual in its place in this world. It's offensive, isn't it? It's just like it's sexually harassing us in the news.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I have to read that and I got to go, well, this dude just came out and all he said in a state of affairs in the real world, all he said was he's mistaking a male behind for a womb, and he may like to put that in his mouth.
Do you remember Mike Piazza years ago? He came out and said, He said, "I'm not homosexual. I'm heterosexual." Remember that? Like there were rumors that he was gay.
Yeah. He
and
came out and he said,
and
yeah.
and he had to come out and say, like, he didn't have to, but I don't know why he felt the need to do it. Like his agent or whoever told him to do it. Say, no, I'm homosexual. I thought it was the cringiest thing, even for him to say that. Like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? You remember that Piazza?
Why would you even say that you needed to address that thing?
Yeah. What do they have? What do they have? Like pictures of you or video? Like is somebody blackmail you or what?
Yeah.
Like what's
Maybe
going on there? It's really strange.
there was a lot of outing at that point. Remember when the gay community was outing like regular straight guys for being what do they call that when you're anti-gay? Yeah, there was
homophobic.
Yeah, homophobia,
Yeah.
and so they were outing guys that were too homophobic and saying, see, everybody's gay. Well, that was Johnson's theory on everybody's like that, and that's so wrong because everybody isn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they had to include asexual, but I don't even think they understand that in the BTQA. They don't understand what an asexual is. They think it's about sex.
Right.
It's totally not about sex. It's about living your life without over pursuing a hedonism.
Right. That's right. Just put that thing away. I mean, it's like, whatever. Just mind your own business and put it away. It's like you don't have to.
Yeah, mind your own business. Don't talk to me at the grocery store about it. I don't want to know about what you're doing. People have a need to tell that to people. I've had it for years at work. If a guy at work comes up and he's like, "Man, I was at the bar and I went behind the dumpster with this," and it's like, I don't want to know that. I really don't think that pertains to anything that we're doing at work.
Yeah.
Especially in my job, I'm a millwright. I'm a millwright electromechanic technician. I'm doing really technical work. And I don't want somebody standing there, you know what I did to my wife last night? I abused her. It's like bam.
Yeah, dumpster kissing is not cool. That's for sure.
Yeah, dumpster kissing retarded girls is not cool. Everybody once in their life ends up behind the dumpster with a retarded girl.
I remember there was this HBO show. They were showing this guy like picking up hookers and like he was like doing dumpster sex. I'm like, he was doing why? Here I am. I have HBO, but I think I had HBO for. I don't know. They used to have good movies and stuff. Whatever. It was like cool to have HBO. It was always cool to have it. I was like in high school, I think, and I paid for my own cable, and because I worked, and so my parents let me have it. And I'm watching this show. I'm like, why is this thing on?
Yeah. Why is it?
What they're showing this guy who's obviously a degenerate.
Yeah.
And they're filming him like having encounters with these hookers, and they're in the dumpster area.
Yeah, the Showtime thing about him picking up prostitutes.
They're trying to normalize this.
They're trying to normalize
behavior.
Kind of behavior.
Yeah. Right. By showing it on TV, and it's just so offensive, really.
It's offensive to us. It is. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. We should do this one day. We should get one of those screens up and that have all the shows on it. The ones that I like to steal, and they have all the shows on it. And then we can go over every show and just talk about the absurdity of it. Like I was thinking about this yesterday. There was a show up, and she's a special girl. And she goes, she moves from New York to a small town, and she's mysterious. And everybody's wondering, why is she so mysterious?
Oh, she's mysterious. Yeah.
And that's the show.
Yeah. She's become a farmer now. She went from a metropolitan high-powered attorney to a farmer.
Yeah, something like that. And then she's mysterious to everybody. She walks into the restaurant and she's like, do you have bagels here? And they're like, no, we don't. And she's so mysterious. What is a bagel?
Yeah.
And the whole episodes revolve around like her like influencing the people around her to a big city mentality where they start making bagels or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, that's the kind of shows you get. It's the millennial shows that there were several of those. And I looked down and I was like, this high school girl goes to a new high school and she's the mysterious new high school girl. Or it's like, and then there's always the Canadian version of that where a couple is riding along and neither one of them have an actual job and she's a photojournalist.
Yeah.
And that's how they all start. It's like, ooh, she's a photojournalist.
Yeah, and she lives in like a $10,000 apartment.
Yeah, and it's like, how do they make their money, and why are they out in the woods, and why are they going to that cabin, and why is there like a degenerate killer in every cabin in the woods in Canada?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what that is? That you know what it is. You probably remember when the Writers Guild. The union, the Writers Guild, and then they dissolved the Writers Guild in Hollywood, and then the quality of writing, it's like I always give the Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, very well written, right?
Yeah, I like the first one. Yeah,
and then you can see it go down from there.
The quality, yeah,
the quality of the writing is not the same, and now we look at the quality of the writing of Hollywood. And
well, I guess I was listening to a podcast today, and I think his name is Peter, but Bogdanovich. He's like he's like 81 years old. He was talking about how the reason why the quality of Hollywood's gone down is because back in the day, like in the 50s, I guess like 40s, 50s, or
right
around there, like they had these directors and actors. They were all under contract.
They're all under contract, right?
Right. So they could put together, a movie pretty quickly because they had all the actors and directors. They all knew each other, and they all, you know what I mean? It was like all like a good team. Now it's like they're no ways under contract, so they have to like scramble to get a good ensemble together.
You had to belong to what was called the Writers Guild or the Actors Guild, and that was the union, and the union had contracts, and this is how unions do things. They collectively have a lot of talented people at their disposal.
yeah
and then the product, it makes it really easy for a guy like Weinstein let's use Weinstein to go in there and go, I need this kind of person that has this kind of personality and this and this, and they'll say, here's these people and they're very well qualified to write this movie for you, and they go, okay, I'll take those, and then you get a good quality product. We don't do that anymore. It's like, and when you intersect the intersectionality of the gender dynamics now, and you have to employ so many people, and you have to employ so many of these people, and that spans out to racial equality and all that stuff, where you have to, and there's no union, and you don't know what you're getting, but you have to have these people on staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it depletes the quality and everything. It's just there was I don't want to go too deep into it because my views are very different, and like normal world, my views are very different than what may be acceptable on YouTube. If I veer from what's the lady's name? Was Juicy
actress?
No,
Julia Lewis,
the CEO. Yeah, Julia Lewis, the CEO of YouTube.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker, the assistant.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, they might disagree, and then I have to get approval from Sarah.
Oh, Claire. Oh, you're talking about Claire and Joyce.
Claire and Joyce. I gotta
get. Yeah, because they had, that's the difference in the other guy on that podcast. Because the big Bogdanovich, he's from Kingston, so I was like, I was just reading about the guy. He's a pretty interesting guy.
Okay.
And, the other guy was saying that they were the reason why. He said the movies back then, they just made them. They just made them. Like they didn't worry about like if they made a lot of money. But today they're just making movies. based on the box office. Like it's just about how much money they think they can make out of it, So yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, I was just looking at the comments. Jeff's in, and Jigsaw's in, and Brissy's in, and
yeah.
Louis Amar is
Louis Amar. I don't know that guy.
Louis Amar. I don't know. He's new. He says outside of religion, why should they live through hedonism? Yeah. Yeah, that kind of brings us back to the topic we were talking about, transcendence. And and the different types of transcendence. And then there's what I don't believe in is like there's Maslow's hierarchy, where you become a Mgtow, then you go through these things, and then at the self what is that self you at the top of Maslow's
self-actualization.
Yeah, you self-actualize into something. Now there's an idea of transcendence there. You're transcending from a lesser state to a superior state. So in that self, is that self beyond ego? No, that's not beyond ego. You're just, and what they're saying is, in a Mgtow sort of Maslow's hierarchy, that you would transcend intellectually to a state where you understood things about Mgtow. And that's the problem we have with some of these new Mgtows, because they don't take the time to really study it. But the state which I kind of look at once in a while, and it's in a philosophy sort of way. I look at everything in a philosophy. Phenomenology is and phenomenology and transcendence, which you trend your own consciousness. We're looking at metaphysical consciousness and the phenomena of consciousness. We look at that from Cartesian dualism to up through probably a few people and a few other philosophers. And then we look at the subjectivity of how we look at other peoples and other people, how you can understand what, and then there seems to be this idea of some people that there's sometimes philosophers will call that the intuition. We all know what's right and what's wrong, and that sort of intuition between us, because we're generally taught the same way, so we all know the morals and ethics of how to proceed in society, but some people don't. But they go over that somehow there's this magic link between us, and they overdo it with the girls. There's no Paul Elam was like trying to persist that there's like magic connection that goes from your brain to her brain. You just know that she's the one. And
well, Christianity does it too. Christianity does it too. It says two flesh become one.
Yeah, two become one, and it's a religious idea. We can go from that to the religious idea of transcendence beyond space and time, where God's gonna rip your personality from your body, discard your old useless body, then he's going to put it somewhere, rearrange it back into its original state, and then you're going to be in this wonderful place. Now that's beyond space and time, spiritual transcendence. And I just don't think that is going to happen. And but we get these three things all mixed up, don't we? Well, we start thinking on this plane that there is some sort of mysterious transcendence that you can obtain through Maslow's hierarchy or greater learning, or we hear it all the time with woke people. Like they're woke. They know something nobody else knows, and they've transcended into a superior state.
Yeah.
So the whole idea becomes sort of ambiguous, doesn't it? But there is a sort of Mgtow state of transcendence. What would that be?
Mgtow state of transcendence? What do you think?
So I think that in a Mgtow, we do the introspection. That's where we get into Mgtow. We say something's, it's, intuition. Let me explain this. When Einstein wrote the first version of relativity, he looked at it and he said, there's just something wrong. I don't know what it is. He had intuition that there was just something wrong with it. And that's sort of an intuition thing. Mgtow, we have this intuition when we come in here that there's just something wrong with the world, and I can't put my finger on it, but I know if I study hard enough and if I look hard enough and I talk to other men that feel the same way as me, that there's just something wrong with the way the world functions, especially in gender dynamics, in the way women think and the way men think and everything, that I can transcend this thing. And then when I get to studying and I get to doing it in a Mgtow way, I do my introspection. I look down and say, was I a simp? Yes, I was. I was taught to be a simp. I was taught to be a white knight. I was taught to be a beggar and everything. But there's a certain hypocrisy in that too that I'll get to later. There's what I call is hyper hypocrisy, because it's hypocrisy stacked on top of hypocrisy. But we transcend these things and we learn a better way. Once we start seeing that there is a better way and there's a better way to look at things, we learn how to be a man above reproach is how I put this. I coined it so I can use it. How to be a man above reproach. I become a better man. I stop simping. I stop white knighting. I stop looking at girls like they're disposable trash. I want the best for them. Go on, do that yourself. But I also want, with this new ideas, I also want them to take responsibility and accountability for their own actions, and I will no longer be the disposable male.
Right.
So that's sort of the Mgtow transcendence. But there's hypocrisy in this thing with the other world. I was reading an article just today about it's the same hypocrisy monks get and Buddhists. If you look at the violence against Buddhist monks and everything, that's violence against asexuals, actually, what it boils down to. But they complain about men being toxic, and then when you become a Mgtow, they complain about you're not what they say you are. So that's hypocrisy on top of hypocrisy. It's a double hypocrisy. So you can never win in that game. All there is for you in that game is suffering. If you start suffering for them, you're forgiven for your original sin. What's the original sin? Of being a toxic male. So it goes back to some religious version of what they think men should be. But all Mgtow has done is we decided that we had some intuition that something's wrong in this universe that I live in, and I have to find out what it is that's wrong. And then they hate you for it.
Yeah, we found out pretty much.
Yeah, we went out, we did the investigation, but it starts with that deep look into what I am. And once I obtain that, I can look out at the world and everything starts looking funny. You know how it is. He's sitting on the Mgtow bench is what we call it. Everything's, man, look at the way he's acting around that girl. Look at the way they're entitled. Look at the Christians, how they push that sexuality on one hand, and then God's going to punish you for it on the other hand.
Yeah.
We start seeing things like that.
I mean, if you have a lustful thought, I used to hear that about sin.
Lustful thought,
if you have a lustful thought, like let's say you say something like, "Oh, I never really sinned," like let's say you say something like that. Yeah. Say, "Oh, well, have you ever had a lustful thought? That's a sin. Have you had a bad thought?" It's like, yeah, but I never acted on that thought. Well, it doesn't matter. Still sin.
You still sinned. Yeah, I can't remember.
That's confusing.
Sometimes I go over things in my head that like, what if this situation happened? I give and I have a thought like, what if this person raped this, or this happened, or there was violence against a child or something. Those thoughts are useful to me because I go over those in my head and I start asking questions about those thoughts. So, but I can't remember any time in the last 12, 15 years where I had a lustful thought, where I was thinking about something. And this is where you have to do your introspection at. I can't remember sinning in that way, what they would consider a sin. Since I've been
they consider walking and chewing gum a sin.
Yeah.
At the same time. Walking and chewing gum, it's like, they got all their bases covered,
Yeah, they do that sort of apologetics where everything starts with Jesus and God, with the effigy of God, and he's so good, and you can never be that good. So
yeah,
that's like taking Matthew McConaughey and saying, like, you guys all pale compared to, like, look how good looking this guy is. I can never be that. Trying to be that would be an impossible task. So now I'm sinning because I'm not like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, you can't walk on water.
I can't walk on water like Hoka.
Right.
Right.
I mean, even Jesus has to, like, bow down to Hokan, to the Hoka, So he has his match too there,
Yeah.
So
he just jumped. He just he did 2 jumps this week on a 26-inch pedal bike over the St. Louis River.
Yeah, the St. Louis Arc. Yeah, he finished that in it was like took him like less than 20 seconds.
Less than 20 seconds. He had to jump the river too because it's pretty high. So he's like over it on a 26-inch bike.
Yeah. So I wonder what he's going to do next. Well, he's headed back towards Lake Erie area, so he might duplicate the 87. Well, he might duplicate it.
He's swimming up the Mississippi and to the over past the Ohio River. He's going to go up the Ohio River right into Lake Erie.
Yeah.
You'll see Hoka go by. He looks like a speedboat, and the water is just kind of going behind him.
Yeah.
Now that's funny. I always wanted to do a meme of Steve in the water like this, and there's just a big stream of water like a speedboat stream after him.
we have to get Jeff on that one.
Yeah, Jeff, you can do that one. It's you just
Oh man.
But so some of the stuff is pretty silly. Some of the ideas in Mgtow sometimes veer from the actual ideas of reality, don't they?
Yeah, I mean,
I think Transcendence is a good topic because it has so many ambiguous meanings, but I see a lot of guys, their whole thing is based on ambiguity. It's like, if I leave it open, then everybody will take what they want from it. And that's not Mgtow. Who is the master of that? Just kind of leaving Mgtow open-ended so you could be anything you want and be a Mgtow.
I don't know, someone that we know, or
somebody from the past that's left. Like, was Howard Dare good at that? He was the ambiguous Mgtow.
Well, I know the UK crew, or at least one guy, talking about transition. It's a transition that we talked about that a little bit, but open-ended Mgtow. I mean, Howard was definitely not a Mgtow, because we found out later he was married for 30 years or whatever.
Yeah, he's married. He was taking the Mgtow money and running with it.
He was a real strange guy. I mean, I don't know how you can be that much of a phony. Like, how could you live with yourself being that fake? It's like the guy's a total clown.
Yeah, he attached himself to a few Mgtow sayings or catchphrases. We have catchphrases in Mgtow that have meanings, and then he attached those catchphrases, and then he used it in an ambiguous manner so he can be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I'm very harsh. This is the way I believe Mgtow is, and I won't bend on it. And I'll back it up with anybody with either scientific, biological, or sociological facts.
Oh yeah, of course.
And because that's just being honest with myself.
Yeah. Well, you could just take a simple idea like women have no honor, right? Take that simple idea. It's not really a simple idea, but like you take that idea and then you observe it in real life, and you see it all the time. It never fails. Like women have no honor. And especially when it comes to like important things, like
Right,
they never, like they just don't have it. They just don't have any. You can't trust them, and so that now you can, since they don't have any honor, well, you can't. Well, now you can't trust them, right? So you can't trust them. So so now you can make good decisions based on those facts.
Right, yeah,
Like,
based on those facts. And somebody will say, well, you're wrong. And I'll say, no, you're not wrong, because we went over this. I told you which book to go to. It's Nesbitt and Cohen, Southern Honor. And there are certain sections you'll have to read intently on it. And he'll tell you that, no, females do not have honor. Honor is from a herding society, that men generally were protectors and providers. And the Southern violence comes from honor over honor from these things. Women can develop honor as a mechanism that comes and goes faster with them. So during times of stress, they can develop honor, but they will soon lose it after honor. And what women have is what?
Conscience by concern, right?
Nesbitt and Cohen, a very well-read book, Michigan State. They're both from Texas. They're both professors. They give this. Everybody that goes through college reads this book at one certain point, and it's called something of Southern Violence, and it's Nesbitt and Cohen. And there's my facts. When I say that females don't have no honor, I'm not saying it to be. I'm not saying it to be cruel. I'm saying they just have something else.
Yeah, they have conscience by concern,
but
you observe it. When you put your BS detector up, and you can observe it like everyday life, like how they act. Yeah,
I don't know how many men come in here and the first thing they tell us when they start telling their story is that they usually use some expletives, and they go, "Ma B didn't have no honor," and he was looking for honor where there was none.
Yeah.
And then we have to explain to them, no, they don't have honor. What she has is conscience by concern. And that's totally different. Now, do you understand why she did what she did? Because it explains why they do what they do.
Yeah.
It's not such a horrible thing after that, after you learn the Mgtow way.
Yeah, and that ties into our topic because you can't really create that magical bond. There's no such thing.
Yeah, there is no magical bond with that. You believe that. And as you signed up for slavery, you believe things that weren't true. That's where you have to do your introspection, sweep your side of the street. And some of those things are going to be unfriendly truths.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all did that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we say, if you want to sign up for your slave, but that's all you're doing is you're signing up for your own slavery. If that little slit is worth it, then go do that.
Yeah.
But we're not wrong. We're not wrong about too many. I can't remember. I can't think of too many things that some things, like I say, transcendence, the idea that you're transcending into a better, a more that gets a little ambiguous. But most of the Mgtow, when you start going over every single one of our little catchphrases and everything, like Nawalt, not all women are like that, is sarcastically the answer to what we get. When not all my woman's not like that. I know a girl, my aunt's not that like that. My mother's not that, and we say, no, that's an illegit. That's not a logical statement. What you're saying to us, because all women are like that. Like what? All women are like what? Like they're like women. Right. And they all have a gun in the room. Once you get married, she has a gun in her room. Does that change for any woman on this planet?
No. Yeah.
So our logic stands up, and
you can never rest. As a man, you can never rest.
Yeah, there is no rest.
No, because it's just
yes, Joey, there is no rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
That's another self-deprecating term from the Christians.
Yeah. Oh man, they got the made-up devil thing, and so that way it deflects attention from the true enemy. Not enemy, but the true what do you call it? Predators.
The true predators, yeah.
Which is the ruling class, pretty much, who run all these institutions. Whoever's running the institutions, really, there's a kind of.
Yeah, screw what you thought about feminism and everything. Mgtow has to take a deep look into what really exists in this world, and simps are running our society, and the Christians have made simp rules, and women are allowed to be polygamous, but men have to be monogamous. And they get forgiven. The chains of morality are extended to them in that way. They get pretty long chains. We're on these short little chains of we got to be totally monogamous and upright, and we got to suffer. But that's all some Christian bull crap.
Yeah.
Which is hard to be. It's really, if that doesn't break you down over a lifetime, man, I don't know. You're a strong dude if that doesn't break you down.
No, I will eventually.
Because eventually you're going to either become really weak, or you're just going to become really complacent with your life. And that's pretty much where I ended, as it just destroyed me. Trying to be
exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
I got to be Superman every single day of the week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's exhausting. It's because they're backed up by these judges, and they're giving a pass for every little they're giving a pass on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're giving a pass on like I said, the chains of morality definitely get extended.
Mm-hmm.
And they're allowed to be polygamous. Well, let's think about what that means in a real world. When I say that they're allowed to be polygamous, if you make her unhappy, she's going to move to baby daddy number 2, and she'll transcend. She'll transcend you in a minute.
You weren't more like Jesus.
Because I wasn't.
That's why I divorced you. You weren't more like Jesus.
Yeah, if you were more like Jesus, then, I would have stayed. I could have clicked my finger and made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or pulled the fish from the.
But that's the thing. If they had honor, they would. Right? They would honor their vows, and
they would honor their vows, and they would honor that agreement, the contractual agreement that you signed. They would honor, but they don't. And they'll move consequences if she thinks that you're not going to do what her idea of upwardly mobile is, then you're gone. And she's allowed to be polygamous. Think about that, guys.
I know. I hear it all the time from men. It's like, oh, well, why did you decide to switch jobs? Well, my wife wanted me to make more money, or whatever. Right.
I hear that a lot of the time.
Yeah. And they lose their dreams too of things they want to do, and and you can see like the pain on their face too when they have to take a job they don't want, or maybe work 2 jobs or even 3 jobs. Who knows what they're trying to buy everything for her. Like if she's accumulating all the resources, and you're forfeiting your dreams and your hobbies, or for her. It's all about her.
It's all about her. Yeah.
These guys don't see it. They're just so dense. I mean, I don't know. I hate to be such a jerk sometimes when I talk. I feel like I'm acting like a jerk, but I'm just trying to wake people up to grow the hell up. Because you're gonna get beat. It's like playing poker, and you got if you're playing against a Mgtow, the Mgtow's got pocket aces. You're sitting there with
aces. You can't
2-7 offsuit. Yeah, you got 2-7 offsuit. It's like, and you know what I mean?
I once played with a 2-7 offsuit right through and one.
2-7 offsuit. They're considered Actually, 2-3 offsuit is probably, well, they consider 2-7 offsuit the worst hand because it's hard to make a straight.
I bluffed right through that when I seen it. Oh, I am bluffing here. Sometimes you get that look on your face when you see your cards. You pick them up and you go, and then you can look at everybody staring at you, and then, oh no, they know something's up. Either like I got to fold or I got to
bluff. these guys in the 70s in Vegas, I think even up to probably President Mo, they were cheating. Like they cheated a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not going to name names, but some big time, old school gamblers from Texas and these guys they used to cheat, man. They were all buddies, and they come into the Nevada,
right, and that's the biggest cheat.
They get this guy ran a poker room. He ran the poker room, and I think it was the Dunes, and they were all buddy, and then so these guys fly in, these multimillionaires fly in. They're just there for a week or a weekend, and they got like 100,000 to blow, and these guys would just sit down at the table and just wait for the millionaire guy to come in, and they would just cheat him and take all his money,
Right. Yeah. If you got hand signals or little mannerisms,
right.
When you tell your buddy, I got a good hand, fold,
right,
and then that saves them all that money, and you keep doing that, he'll give you the hand. Or if you got three guys at the table, usually it doesn't go past three, but if you got three guys,
could be, go ahead, yeah.
And I had to learn that. I got taken like twice.
It could be even as simple as like the guy next to you is showing you his 2 cards or whatever, showing you his whole cards. So there's 2 cards. There's only 52 in the deck, right? So now you're looking at 4 cards. Your 2 and his 2,
right?
Or let's say the 2 guys next to you, the 3 of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see 6 cards. If you got 2 guys, so they can like make it look like they're not cheating, but they can just like kind of just show you the cards in a way that looks like they're not even cheating. But now you're looking at 6 cards.
Now you're looking at 6 cards.
You're looking at 6 cards in the deck, and now you're going against the other 5 players on the, 5-6 players. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage. Now, eventually, me and a friend, we decided that, okay, if they're going to do that, we're going to do that. And then I would come in to the bar around the corner where and now I always play with a partner. It's like I go in, and then 15 minutes later you show up, and then we pretend like we don't know each other. And every time you got a good hand, just let me know.
Yeah, because I used to play at the Bellagio a lot, and I used to play in some pretty big games. Like a couple times there were a couple 100,000 on the table. And I sit down with 5 or 10,000. These guys are holding a couple guys at 50,000 in front of them, like big money. Pretty big money.
Yeah.
I stopped playing because, and I was holding my own in that game. I was doing okay, and I stopped playing because these guys were all like checking to each other. I noticed they were checking to each other when they got into the pot with each other. They were not. They wouldn't bet each other.
Right.
They would kind of check it down. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? It's like this is a bunch of bullshit. They're not betting each other when they're in the pot.
Yeah, they're checking to each other, and it's like this. It's like, why aren't we playing poker here? There's some strange. It's like
because whenever there's money involved, there's always going to be corruption. There's always going to be bullshit. But anyway, we're going to get back on topic. We don't want to piss our
we don't want to get off topic too much and everything.
But it's like a card game. Like I think you look at things like marriage and just getting them, like women are like what was that line, like women are the rake or something, Game of Life or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're just, it's like you just see these things, but you just take that one idea that women don't have honor, like that one idea can just pretty much propel you into like a strong Mgtow position that you can utilize to really have
grow from.
Grow from. Yeah, exactly.
Once you realize that she's only going to do the thing that she is hypergamous. She's going to do what enhances her value and enhances her position.
Right. It's like when I told you this story, like I had about at least 2 off the top of my head. I think of 2 women who both mentioned that they got divorced and they had to pay. They claimed they had to pay the husband, money in the divorce, but that was total nonsense, lie. It had to be.
It had,
because they were just trying to position themselves so that they look like they're in a higher higher moral ground, right?
Yeah, they do that a lot too, even with the appearance of they it was the joke last week when I put like if she's laughing at your jokes when you're at when you got guests. Like in the real world, she doesn't act like that. She just wants to enhance her appearance and the way people look at her. Now, Winninger talked about that a lot, about how it was all through the external that she was getting validation, and women need validation too, and that's how they get their validation. There's
explain that again. How do they get their validation?
They get their validation through their husband. Like, what do I say? They give the good idea of like, okay, the husband comes in and he redoes the whole house. Then she has a dinner party and she says, "Look what I did. Look, we made this house beautiful." And she didn't do nothing, but she enhanced her, validated herself through her husband's hard work.
Yeah,
and credit for it. Now when you're in a job situation, she will take credit for things you do. That's why I always say never share your ideas with a woman at work. So the idea of hypergamy is just conscience by concern. That's no big thing. Some guys come into Mgtow and they think, "Oh, I've learned this new word, hypergamy," and it's I often think, well, yeah, keep learning, because that's just conscience by concern. She's doing what she's going to do naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, we get those, like that's a big concept. We should talk about that a little bit. The Christianity thing, the flesh, two flesh become one flesh.
Two flesh become one. Yeah. Now there was the Plato. Who is it? The Plato or Socrates? I can't remember which guy came up with that. At the beginning of time, we were one person and then we were separated, and now you got to go out and find your special other. I can't remember what that idea, that myth is called. But people used to believe that, and they search for that special other, the one that completes you. And what we know, she completes me just means that now you're infected with the bacteria that she has, and you're producing oxytocins, and you feel you're on drugs. Pretty much, your brain is producing peptides and oxytocins and all those hormones that it's like she got you drunk. And
well, that makes sense why, like, that's how you can understand now why a simp is going to stay with an abusive woman.
Right, that's why he simps. The simp drug is oxytocin. It's the cuddle drug. Women complain that men want to be too close and are clingy sometimes, and he's simping. And we always see these things on the internet about him like forcing his way next to her and everything. Well, that's because she's producing oxytocin on her breasts and in her body, and then she's sharing her bacteria, which is 3 times more than you. That's why I got kicked off of Mgtow out of YouTube once. The blood barrier, it's 0.01, 0.004, and it's going through they collect on your brain neurons, and they turn on this section of brain that produces oxytocins. And that's why men act like that. That's why men simp. That's why it's always a good idea when you come into Mgtow is to cut off contact for a while and take some antibacterials. I suggest wormwood and walnut oil. It's more natural for at least 30 days, and then you'll see that things will start look different. That she may not be the perfect bride you thought she was. And it might just be an illusion, because it's a drunken illusion of what these men think. They put their women on a pedestal. We use that line. They put them on why do men put the women on a pedestal? Because it's a drunken illusion of the archetypal female, and he thinks he's found that one he connected to because he's on drugs. And that's a pretty scary thought. It's aggressive mimicry is what it is. And it's It's interspecific human mimicry is the terms we use it scientifically, uh, and it has the same idea. She's looking for the resources. She's sexually cryptic, and she's looking for resources, and that's interspecific human mimicry. You can see this play out in the perfect example is Darla, and what was that, Marla, and Fight Club. Why was Marla going to the meetings?
I don't know.
Because she's looking for resources from the meetings, and she met the resource, and it's him, and she needed to. She was validating herself from the pain of others. Like, okay, she felt better because she didn't have that same pain. Like when they went to the cancer groups or the kidney dialysis groups or those groups and everything, Marla was the perfect example of interspecific human mimicry. She was like, and she was looking for the resources. And she tells him at one point when they have their argument, when she's getting off the bus, like, I was looking for something better than you, and you're the worst thing. She says the classic line, "You're the worst thing that ever happened to me." So when you think about that in conscience and concern, and her women women know they have that ability to put you in a state where you lower your defenses because of the hormones. You feel vulnerable then to that. I know you've been in love at a certain point in your life, or what we call love is just a chemical reaction. You've been there and you feel vulnerable. The cuddle drug makes you, the oxytocin makes you want to be around her. And if she's not around, then your world is lost, because them drugs are powerful. They're like heroin. You think about a heroin addict, what a heroin addict would go through to get his drug. Well,
Roxy Music, love is the drug.
Yeah, love is the drug. And what you will go through to be around her, in the PUAs, when you think about what the PUAs are, they're hooked and they can't get off of it. And Mgtow is the cure. And Mgtow is the ultimate AA, sort of. These are the rooms you go to get off them drugs. And we're providing that service for the United States and many other countries around the world, and they hate us for it. But they won't say the truth. They won't say it like Marcus Aurelius would say it, like he's in love with you because you put him on drugs. That's like him taking you to a bar and getting you drunk and then having sex with you. That would be wrong, wouldn't it? So why do you do the reverse? Why do women do the reverse to men, then blame it on men?
I don't know. What do you think, Emmett?
It's very hard to understand why they can't see that, but they do know of it. They do know the influence they have on men, and I think it's a bit of denial, along with greed, and it's like, Joey, if you had a guarantee that you're going to win every poker game for the next 2 weeks, would you not show up?
Yeah, I'd try. I wouldn't sleep.
You wouldn't sleep. Women are the same thing. If they know they're going to win, would they not show up? Would they not take that benefit? Of course you would take that benefit. Everybody would. That's the dark side of human nature.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing. We see cop shows all the time about doing the right thing may get me killed, but I'm going to do the right thing. No, most people will not do the right thing. They'll self-preserve themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people put themselves in bad positions. You're right, when they people follow that thing.
Yeah. Now, if you had those benefits as a male, I'm sure you would take the same advantage. If you were allowed to be polygamous, Joey, wouldn't you do that?
If you could get away with it, yeah. Like, it wasn't all these responsibilities.
Yeah, if there was no laws against it, and you can afford it, would you be polygamous?
I mean, probably, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. You would be like, okay, now that's what women do. They're allowed to be polygamous. They're allowed, and we have to be monogamous and held responsible for the rest of our lives for not even, had very little to do with that. They're not your children. Her body does that. I can't get pregnant. That's where, my whole thing is. But these Christians, they warp this thing so much. I mean, they never look at it. They're scientific denialists to begin with, so they don't look at the biology of it. They don't hold women responsible for their actions, and then the hypocrisy of strong girl hypocrisy is you want to be a strong girl, but you don't want to be accountable for your own body. You get pregnant.
Yeah, they're giving incentives for that too. They're giving incentives for that too.
To get pregnant, to rake a dude, to involve him in a system of slavery where they take half his money and then they take half his money and they take another third for taxes, which the taxes should have paid for the altruism.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have just slid into the social services department, and everything should have been taken care of. But the government steals. That's where I go on about all the time about when you're looking for the dragon, look in the right spot. Don't look at feminism over there. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. Look for the dragon. If you're looking for the dragon's your government. The altruism's here. The men are paying taxes, and it should go right over here, but it goes up and then it trickles down after they take what they want from it, and they pay themselves. That's where the wrong is here. That's the bottom dollar here. In Mgtow, that's the biggest thing we should be looking at, is how the government is running a business off of the slavery and the misconception of marriage and divorce systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jonathan wants to talk about abortion equals murder. And 72% of abortion is vanity abortion, where a woman doesn't want to ruin her body, or it's financial abortion. But do men have the same right of financial abortion? No. For men, it would be abortion is just holding a woman responsible for her choices, and then after that, I don't care what she does. So the abortion issue is kind of mute for me. How about you?
The idea of abortion?
Yeah. Because I can't have an abortion. I've never had one. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I can't have it. As a male, it's a gender bias law. So they want to talk about gender bias laws that racism is things that are implanted in our society as barriers. And males not having the right to financially abort is an inhibitor to your upward success. That's a barrier. That's racism.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about it like that, men are racially violated every day in the Roe versus Wade decisions. So men should get the option. I think if men had the option to abort,
mm-hmm.
and not be forced fathers, but that would change a lot of things in the gender dynamics, where women would start being more responsible, not behind a dumpster bullshit no more.
The Hoka dumpster on
the Hoka dumpster.
Steak and Shake. The Steak and Shake dumpster.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just gonna put a camera behind there so I can tape it, and then I can just put it online and sell it to all the simps. Like, here's dumpster sex.
Hoka sees everything. He's all knowing, all seeing, and all present.
Oh, like the time I went to the Steak and Shake and he jumped off the roof on my back.
Yeah.
Or he jumped over me in the woods on a bike.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just a bad deal for men. I don't think they're not thinking through these things. It's like my friend. He got his girlfriend. He had a child with this woman, and then meanwhile he's telling me how much of a bitch she is. Well, geez, you had to know that. You dated her for like a year or two before you got her knocked up.
Yeah.
I said, don't you know? Yeah, like, don't you know where babies come from? It's like, why are you doing that? Why are you dropping a load in her? Like, it's not very smart. Yeah, it's like, are you that like, that's like really irresponsible, and like, you're changing the whole trajectory of your life. It's like, you just for that moment of passion, and it's stupid.
Right. Yeah, and that's
just get a box of tissues and go in the bathroom and then take out a shower.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot easier, and it's the same result, isn't it?
But that would presume that a lot of these men do what Mgtows do and do the self-introspection and start taking the risk out of it and say, no, I'll just not do this, or I'm going to do this safely, or I'm going to do this. I'm just going to call strippers to get the massage or whatever they do. 200 miles.
Just hide the hide the wallet, hide the
hide the wallet,
watch, hide the watch,
your ring, and lock that up in the lock drawer. You can get a lock that the drawer on that. Most hotels have the little locks on them. You can just lock it because that's. But no, it's like, be responsible.
I wouldn't even do that either, because the way women are today, they literally get away. I mean, they get away with murder. They'll kill you, and they'll kill you and take. They don't care. They know they'll get away with it. They know they're going to get away with it. It's like my friends that get into arguments with their wives, and then the wife ends up punching them and all this kind of stuff, and then she calls the police after hitting him, and then he goes to jail.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot, and most of the time they'll take the male to jail without what they call the aggressor, but the aggressor is presumed to be the male all the time, because how could the beautiful woman be how can the little butterfly be or the angel be the aggressor? Well, no, those angels aren't what you're how does Barbarossa put that? Your special angelic friend is not what you think.
No, I have it totally, like, I can interact with the most beautiful woman on the planet, and it's like at the end of the day, I see her as a cunning person, I don't want anything to do with her.
They're cunning, they're crafty for a reason. We talked about the biological reasons why they are cunning and crafty. Be aware of those things. Mgtow gives you such an up in life that, just be aware of these things and you'll be better off. I wish I would.
Could you review those for the audience real quick? Just do a brief premiere on it.
What's that?
Like why they're cunning and crafty.
Why they are cunning and crafty?
Just like a brief, like.
That's because it's conscious.
No, just kidding. Less than 50 words. Okay.
Yeah, less than 50 words. They're hyper. It's conscious by concern. They're doing what's best for themselves.
Right. Okay.
That would be, and they learn how to do that as little children. I watched one day. I was talking about. I watched the kids at the bus stop, and then the youngest boy that used to be around here, he'd send him off to the bus stop, and then the girls would hit him. And then when the adults would say, "What's going on here?" she would go, "He's hitting me," and then he'd get punished. That was the analogy to the. My brother used to pull that on me, to the Hot Wheel to the face, and then he would drop the Hot Wheel track, and I'd pick it up and chase him with it. Then he'd run to my mother and say, "Joey's hitting me," and I just got baited. And I'd always fall for that. Well, don't fall for that, man. Don't get baited. They are that crafty and cunning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's terrible that we were not taught these things when we were younger, and
we didn't catch those things. Nowadays they have cell phones that they can record the girls little, and you see it all over the internet. They used
remember that dog? Yeah. Remember that woman that was abusing the dog or something?
Yeah. You can record it now and put them up now.
She was punching the dog or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, the kids often do that with the girls, like go violent on the bus, and then they get recorded, and they try to, he's just the boys were bothering me. No, you were a violent little girl. It's almost a shock to the older people now when they see that. Oh, I can't believe the little girls are acting like they are. How many times have you heard that from the older people now? No, the little girls always acted like that. We just didn't have cameras to catch them.
You gonna drop the link, Joe? I think Black Wolf wants to get in.
Oh, you want me to drop a link here?
Yeah, you can drop it. Yeah, I haven't talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to him in a week. Yeah, it's up to you. Well, it's your show.
Yeah, we can drop. We went over the major subjects, and we can re-go over the major subjects if anybody wants to re-go over them. That's
no. I mean, it's good to go over it because once you combine that knowledge with your own observations,
right,
it's not gonna lie. It's like we're not
right,
lying.
yeah. What's the first scientific fact of trying to figure out something scientific? You observe it.
Yeah.
And you critique it, you observe it, and then you try to figure out if it's a truth. But that's what we do in here. That's the only thing I'm asking you. Just do Kuhn's philosophy of science. That's the only thing I'm asking Mgtow's to do is Kuhn's philosophy of observe it, critique it. You could critique it, and if it still stands after you critique it, then it's true, and you can believe it then.
Yeah.
Now, there is a danger in that when we have Mgtow lights around that can't really answer the questions of critique. When they're halfway in and halfway out of this thing, their answers are ambiguous and they're light, and they don't have the real answers to the questions. And we have Black Wolf in the stream now. Do you think that's a problem, Black Wolf?
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? I just popped in and
hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm just I'm done doing a walk, but yeah, dude, I think it's a major problem when women get the pussy pass or everything. Women have always been pulling this crap for the longest time, and it may sound kind of funny, but in my monkhood, I'm not even angry anymore. That's the weird part about it. Nothing they do surprises me anymore.
Once I learn of these things and I know that it's just this is what they do and this is natural, and I should have been aware. I should have been taught better, but I should have been aware. And it doesn't bother me now that I am aware.
Yeah, it just becomes like the sun rising in the morning, only instead of a cock-a-doodle-doo, you just hear a woman screaming off on the distance somewhere.
I know what they're about. I know. I don't fall for those things anymore. Because I know, and it is not such a shock when they do it.
Right, it's their nature. It's their nature. It's their DNA.
It's their nature. Yeah, and I'm sure they say the same thing about us. We have some nature. That's what we do our introspections about. I mean, we are pee beggars when we're younger. We are simps, and we fall for that stuff, and we get over aggressive, and that's our mistake. But as soon as we correct those things, we become men above reproach. And we go, okay, now I can see that in myself. Let's talk about you now.
Yeah, isn't it funny how that works? I mean, after somebody does a little introspection, you start, reflecting on the people around you and everything. That's what happened to me when I spent a good year or two damn near in solitude, but by choice. And I found that I just couldn't relate to the average person that much anymore because the things that bother them don't bother me. And things they care about are just fleeting.
Oh, the drama that they create around this magical mystery world that they live in, and it's Sheila said this, and you think Sheila's cheating on Jim, and Bob's doing this, and it's the big drama tables, and you can see it playing out in these micro. These cringy micro fashions in bars and events and even at parties and in your family and everything. And it becomes, you just, as a big time, you step back and you're like, it's like almost horror that you have to deal with, but you know what it is.
Yeah, that's why I've always hated those social events. I have to leave a lot of family alone because of that. It's not that I don't enjoy going to such places, but if they're going to bring the drama with them, I just I get up and I leave because the older I get, the less of tolerance I have for the
Right.
drama, and I equate dating, marriage, and all of that to unnecessary drama. And this is something that, marriage is obsolete. This is something we should long, transcend it. Like this whole technology is better. We're no longer living in some kind of BC era, and I think people want to romanticize the past, but forget we live in the here and now.
Yeah.
And regardless of age, everybody has to accept reality and progress. I mean, you don't stop learning, you don't stop growing. I mean, we're constantly evolving in our own ways, and there's no there's no real end to that. And
Romanticism is a big problem, and that go back to the 50s thing is never going to happen. And I mean, or it's just what would happen if they got their way, and we got to go back to this place where men were like, what's that TV show with the guys drinking the vodka in the offices, and they're in charge, and man, if we redid it, it would only have time in 20 years. It would just go back to what it was, and then we'd have the same arguments again, and we wouldn't get it again. It would be doing the same crazy shit over again.
Yeah. And that's why I'm when feminism first came around, I didn't know what it was. Then when I found out what it was, I was pissed off about it. But now these same women that walk around saying I don't need a man, I hate men, all that stuff, I thank them for it. And I was like, thank you, feminism. You liberated us more than anybody.
Yeah, feminism liberated us because besides the hypocrisy of that, where they want to be the strong girls and everything, and it's like, thank you. Finally, you're going to take responsibility for your body. And then it doesn't change actually in reality. They won't take responsibility for their bodies, and they need a slave male, and that's hence baby daddy number 1, 2, 3, and 4. But the strong woman is that more double hypocrisy stacked on top of hypocrisy for me.
Yeah, that's exactly why I make them. They wanted to create the crappy dish for us. I mean, you have to let people lie in the hole that they they dig, and so now I'm gonna hold them to all those feminist standards. Okay,
Right.
Sign up for draft. Okay, make as much money as a man.
They just redid that. They just turned that on a month ago, where women weren't going to be responsible for signing up for the draft either. It was just men.
Yeah, that's the messed up part.
The messed up part about that is if you don't, as a man, you will be restricted from loans. You will be restricted from schooling. You will be restricted from a lot of, and they know that. And there's a lot more that goes along with social services than you think.
Yeah, that's what's truly frightening about it. I'm just gonna go on limb and just say this: men died for women's right to vote.
Right.
Not a single woman lost her life in the process of them complaining about that. And it's really sad that they act the way they do now.
Yeah, with that whole social, if someday I'm going to do a thing on civil service and the corruption within that system. Me and Joey talk about the corruption within that system. If you have an Irish name or a black name, your social service will get pulled and they'll lose it, and you won't get when it comes down to we're going to take 50 kids for this college, and they pulled half the black and Irish kids and Italian kids out of that, and all that's left is the ones that they want to succeed. The pool goes down and their odds go up. There's such bigotry and corruption in that system that it should be abolished.
Yeah. And that's why I'm waiting for it to. It'll fall on its own sword when there's not enough people to support. I mean, I even reached a point to where I stopped even trying to help the simps, because I spent 5 years or more trying to explain to them how dangerous a lot of this stuff is, and yet still, oh, you're wrong, Black Wolf, or you're just mad that A, B, and C happened to you. And I'm like, no, I'm just giving you the information. And the way I see it, okay, we'll go off in the woods and mountains. We'll do our own thing, live our bachelor monk life, and you know what? They can pay for all these women since they seem to be so eager.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
Right. That's we already pay for that in altruism. We already pay for taxes and everything. We just don't need people stealing those taxes from us and then putting men in child support situations where the tax was already paid for altruism. It should that baby should be taken care of. That mother should be taken care of already. But the only problem is the government stole the money.
Yeah, and what's even more messed up about it is even if a man doesn't date or doesn't matter all that, we're still, like you mentioned, taxes. Yeah, we're still paying for all this crap in it.
Even though you're a single guy, you're still paying taxes at a higher rate because there's something you're being punished for not involving yourself in the breeding system.
Yeah, and there's a reason the government does this as well, and people can get as mad as they want when I say this, but it's the freaking truth. Without men, there is no society. It is through our taxes, our money, our hard work that it even stays afloat. And like, let things get bad enough, man, to where women often joke about this. Oh, the world would be so great if men only made up like 10% of the population. I said, okay, let that happen. It'd be the epitome of hell.
Yeah,
but let that happen.
Yeah. Now, I did a research project years ago on this with the societies that are kind of worth living in. You can look around the world and see where the infrastructure is at its best, and I use Dubai for that. Dubai, you look at the infrastructure in Dubai. They built those islands. They have huge towers. The infrastructure. You know what the population of man to woman is in Dubai?
What's that?
64% males to 44% females. Sorry, 34% females.
I gotta check out that video. Was Scotland on that list?
Yeah, there's Kyrgyzstan, which is another 64%. There's society now in America. There's 48% men to 52% or 54% women to 46% men, and we wonder why our infrastructure is failing now.
Because women don't build roads. They don't.
Well, yeah, they want to take that down to 10% male, so they can just take sperm from them like cows.
That seems to be the way shit is now, man. It's
yeah,
it's messed up.
Yeah, you're gonna have dirt roads, is what you're gonna have.
This is why I've been trying to warn the younger generation. I mean, a lot of them don't believe me, but they're gonna have to fight. I mean, they're gonna bring a fight. A fight is gonna be brought to their doorstep, and I don't know how it's gonna happen. But I had a weird premonition about this. I had a dream about this, and I went to my god kid and I said, I know this may sound messed up, but when you get my age, you're gonna be kind of screwed.
Yeah, you're gonna be kind of screwed.
You're gonna have to fight.
If this whole general idea, the Christian idea, keeps permeating into our society, and I think there's enough people now where people are starting to wake up and go, marriage is bullshit, and the whole idea after that is just bullshit stacked on top of bullshit.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, religion and law should not ever cross paths.
Right.
I mean, laws should be made on what's logical or what's ethical, not some crazy crap, written in a book thousands of years ago. And even if everything in the Bible was air quote true, time changes, society change. We can't use a format that was used like fucking thousands of years ago. It just doesn't make any sense from an ethical standpoint.
Right. They give the idea of a social norms. These are the social norms now. Well, you know what the social norm for those little mice up in Canada are? The ones that run off the cliff.
Yeah.
What are those mice called? The lemurs?
Lemmings.
Yeah, the lemons. The run of the lemons. That's the social norm for them. That their society has broke down so much. The social norm is to run off that cliff. So, and that's where we're going. We're on the almost to the cliff, and we're letting that stupidity of religion, the social norms of that, and everybody when you ask a judge these are the norms of society, and it sounds intelligent, but it's fucking asinine.
Yeah, it really is. It just involves men making all the freaking sacrifices, and I find it funny. Not only the government, but women, and I guess you could say society. They did the dumbest thing in the world. They told us, okay, we don't like you, and you've been working for free all this time. Oh, thanks for telling me that. Now I don't have to work no more.
Yeah, I'll do what I do other things now. Yeah, every divorced man that gets 1/3 of his check figures out how to do other things. That's self-preservation. Or otherwise, it's a one room and ramen noodles, and I'm not living like that.
Amen to that, man. I don't want to live that way either. And the thing about it is, it's great. I tell it's messed up because I have to often tell men, like, you know, we've been bred and programmed to simp since the dawn of time, and it's hard to go against that programming, but
Right,
it
the
gets
STEM
better.
program.
And once you reject that, it gets better and go monk, because I see these guys. I mean, some of them have told me, well, if we stop doing anything, then the women are going to suffer. I was like, well, they're going to have to, woman up and figure something out. And whether they figure out or not is not my problem, not my responsibility. They're adults, they're grown, independent women as they claim. So let them go ahead and handle that. I mean, I think if anything, as men, we've done too much. Like we've done too much for them. We coddled them. We did all this stuff to make their already easy lives easier. And I really I view men as the giving gender. We really are the freaking giving gender. I mean, damn it. We give to women, we give to children, and then by the time we've
Right.
given something to everybody, we're the last one on our own list, assuming we're even on it to begin with. You know, it's and women are just the taking gender, and it's just they don't give back, but they take.
They
I mean,
take, they take, and they take. It's like we talked about earlier about, you know, it's hard to blame them for it because, like you said, if you were guaranteed to win in a card game for 2 weeks straight, would you not take it?
yeah, that's true.
Do
You
you
got
have,
a point.
yeah, you do have that much ethics where you would say, well, that would be, well, it's not like cheating. Yeah, I'm just guaranteed to win. They're guaranteed to win. They're going to take it. And them are the perks and plus and benefits, whatever they want to call it and everything. But yeah, of course they're going to take it. And that should be one of those obvious Mgtow things that like, yes, they're going to take it. Like, why wouldn't they? It's like, and once you come, well, once you, like you started talking about when you first came on, it's like, once you know these things, they're a little less, they irritate you a little less, and you go, yeah, I know that's true.
kind of reminds me of the 7 stages of death or life. I forget what it was called. First was it denial, then anger, and some point bargaining and acceptance, something like that.
Yeah, that's Kubler-Ross, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening right now between men and women. I mean, we as men, we've just reached the accepting part because
I gotta do this. Keep on going.
Yeah, I mean, we as men, we just reached the accepting part, and it's really funny because women are gonna have to reach that point too. They have to accept that we're not coming back to that plantation. And as far as the guys, man, I know I hit at the PUAs like all the time, but what they do is just they're insane. They really are mentally insane because they're I mean, following their plan. I mean, I would sooner pour gasoline on myself and try to run like put myself in a can and get shot through 1,000 flaming hoops, hoping I survive before following any of their crazy ideas, because
Yeah,
they promote the insanity. They promote these tactics and expect different results. I mean, the tactics are more or less the same. The results never
right.
change, but they keep saying, "Oh, well, you didn't kiss butt the right way," and all this other stuff. And
Right, yeah. There's always you can't win in that game. There's always something else. It's a catch-22 system.
yeah,
We laugh about me and Joey laugh about that bargaining thing. If you're applying Kubler-Ross to anything outside of death, it's kind of off the field thinking. It's like applying Maslow's hierarchy to. It's like to things where it doesn't apply to, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty. And someone can always accuse you of bargaining. You're bargaining, man. What?
That's why I brought it up, man, because it's so absurd, like that it's like that nowadays, and it's just like to the guys that still want to be P-ways and those game players and all this stuff,
Right?
They just, you got to feed them to the lions, and they want to be zebras. They're gonna get caught. I chose to just stay out of there because I don't want to be eaten, and it's actually kind of funny. I mean,
yeah, someone was talking about they explained James's bear. It's a story about James's bear, the philosopher James and the bear in fear, and they said at the end of the thing he says, well, someone says like, you're angry, aren't you? And the guy goes, no, I'm not angry. It just, you get accused of being angry, and then you get angry. It's like, emotions are weird like that. That's what's called James's bear.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I recall something that you said like a long time ago, and I laugh about it to this day. I have to keep reminding men that they don't give birth. I keep having to remind them that because
they believe that they're doing something in that they've enacted that. You didn't do nothing.
It's
from the inception of the whole thing. You got drugged. You got drugged by hormones. You believe, and she stole your sperm, and then she made a copy of your sperm, which doesn't make it your DNA. And then her body started producing a baby. Now you think you're pregnant?
Yeah, it's insane, man.
It's insane. But that's our government believes that. When you go before a judge, that's what he's saying. He's saying you're responsible because you made her pregnant. And I'm going, no, I'm not. It was her decision. Her body does that. I can't get pregnant.
And this is how I know it's gonna all come crumbling down. Everything that they fought for is just. The premonition's coming true because these guys, like I have more men say this to me over the course of everything than women. They'll tell me. This one guy tell me, well, if men stop having kids, then what about the population? And I looked at him, I said, what about it? He's like, well, the species will die off. I said, no, species won't die off. He's like, why is that? I was like, because there's simps like you running out there having conversations like this with me.
Yeah, simps like you haven't got. Yeah, that's what I started. I wanted to relate that to the population replacement thing that they keep going over, which is supposed to be 2.2 and it's not. And there's some link between that. I just haven't put the whole syllogism together where it's correct. Well, it's a correct and it runs to a true, but there is a link, and I know it. I can see it. I can feel it. I just something smells right about it. And it's like, they just use that population replacement thing, and then like you said, it's like
it's really funny, man, because a lot of people don't know. Like we have gene splicing. The artificial wombs are practically here, and then there are tons of other ways to have children that don't involve the traditional method.
Yeah, and any Mgtow can tap into that way. Some people get really mad at me when they learn that, like, I've had children with lesbians. I think there's another way to do it, and you can have surrogacy. You can have other children. You can have there's understandings that need to be. There's commitments and understandings that need to be come to, but you have to be smart enough. You have to be Mgtow about this thing. It only takes, they can keep all they have to do now is figure out how for 14 weeks. It's down to 14 weeks, or even it might even be down lower than that, because the last time I did the genetics of what do they call that, raising a baby in a test tube babies, the genetics of that, they got it down so low that the guy was talking about abortion, and here's where it comes in. If women want to get abortions now because of because of vanity reasons, they can take that baby now at 14 weeks and raise it inside of a bubble, and it'll be perfectly normal.
And I think science-wise, that may be for the best. I mean, earlier I was against it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, in my more religious days, I was like, oh, ew, that's messed up. That'll never happen. But
yeah,
I'm starting to see the viability of it.
Yeah. We get the Huxley's Brave New World sort of thing. There's things in that book that are right, and there's things in that book that the attitude towards test tube babies and making children where they don't really have parents anymore, that's not wrong. That's 100% right, and that's the way we should be looking at this thing. But that's often in apocalyptic movies or space apocalyptic, futuristic movies. That's often one of the horrors that the Christians will present at you as being a horror. Oh, all these babies are going to be like Superman. All the babies were raised in that thing. I can't remember what they call it.
Cryogenic chamber or something like that.
And it had all the knowledge, and then it gave all the babies the knowledge of, and then it put the DNA together perfectly for all of them and everything. But that was presented in the Hollywood Forum, in the Christian Hollywood Forum, as something that was just, oh. And then he had to destroy it. Which is, could you think about the horror of that? Superman's father had to destroy that.
Yeah, man,
and the horror of that is just, but it's justification of the horror of that. But when you stop, think about what he did, and you go, oh God, that was horrible. And we just taught millions of little kids that that's the way you're supposed to think.
Yeah, that's the scary part about it. I mean, I take the Omni-Man approach to it. I mean, that's what I view Mgtow ultimately as. I mean, just we're trying to save as many people as we can and make them understand so they don't get caught up, because the current people who endorse the simp ideology, they're going to become obsolete at some point, and they're not going to make it, and they don't realize that they're going to end up in a state of this complacency, and they're really gonna be having an existential crisis with all this new technology coming out, man. They got this magnet locked
against postmodernism is so great. Even in Mgtow, you see the guys just go off about postmodernism, and it's like I embrace it. I'm like, there's new technologies that are coming down the line where you're going to have a lot to learn here. And it's going to change your ethics. It's going to change your morality. It's going to change the way you think about the world. But just being an unfriendly truth, or just being irritated by it and being triggery, is not. It doesn't matter, because this thing is coming.
Yeah, this is how I know the people that reject it aren't gonna make it. I mean, I went from being very religious to an atheist to agnostic, and now I'm going to try to take that and put it into science, because science has come a long way. Yeah. I did a lot of research in that. They even have ways of, gene splicing certain, certain diseases or possibilities of getting it. Like, we've gotten that high tech at it. Who's to say we don't accidentally create a Kryptonian? I mean, I know it may sound scary, but it's kind of a good thing too. I mean, we're evolving. We're supposed to evolve as time goes on.
We learn so much from what we can see now in the DNA and everything. And the cancer drug, what was the cancer drug they always use for women with breast cancer? What it does is it removes the monotheids, the little that light up the genes that give you the cancer, and it removes those from the body at a very harsh. It's very harsh. But what we learned from that is we can manipulate the DNA now. And we can remove those little attachments that light up the system. I can't remember what you call them, monochlorides or mono somethings, but that's what lights up that certain. And then with the idea of what was her name, the jumping genes, so we can tell, like, if this process starts happening, and And that's basically what you take the signets, and then that's what she does in her body. It's not you. You're doing nothing. The genes are jumping around and rearranging herself to match your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so ridiculous that you think you got her pregnant. Her body did that.
Yeah, because it's like a toss-up. I mean, when I did a lot of research on genetics, I discovered something quite shocking in a sense that for thousands of years people have been messing it up. The same thing when it came to race and all this other stuff. Genetics is way more complicated than a fucking phenotype or a race or anything. Like it's way more in depth. And the more I learned about it, the different admixtures and the things that happen. I mean, if I had to simplify it, that's like taking a bunch of M&Ms and a bunch of Skittles, pouring punch in a bowl. You pour all in the bowl, and then you take a scooper and you scoop that up. I mean, it's a random clump of DNA and everything. The child's still probably gonna be mostly closer to the mother because it's their first apartment and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
she's doing that and everything, and even with personality traits and kids and even twins and everything. There's been recent research on and one of the things that I always found fascinating was you got two children with the same DNA and everything, but in the mind of one of those anneals have a different idea, that changes everything. So even the same DNA you can get two people that think very much different about subjects and even look different, and it's quite amazing that the DNA only accounts for 50% of the personality anyways. And it doesn't automatically jump to the other side where you can program a human to be whatever you want. I can't remember who was that. Watson's theory of I could take a baby and make it into a doctor, because the anneals are very, there's two different types, and there's several different types, and even though they look the same under a microscope, they can do different things. And as soon as one of those different things happen, then everything changes.
This is why I always link personality to a soul, or what is a soul and everything, and because it's personalities can be like unpredictable. I don't think we're ever going to have the technology to fully alter that the way we see fit. But in terms of genetics, I mean, they have a lot of stuff out there. Like if we have the technology practically right now, that if we wanted to remove like a type of chromosome that's been causing nothing but problems for us as humans, we can do that. We can add and
we can
replace
manipulate. The Chinese are doing it right now with, what do they call that?
I forgot the name of his gene something.
Yeah, it's a gene
therapy or it's geno something.
Yeah, they do it, and they manipulate the genes, and it's been banned around the world. But I'm thinking, well, they've already cloned. You can clone a sheep and everything, and it went from there. And then they tried to shut that down, and then the DNA, the sequencer, they got over there, and they shut that down now because they can now sequence the DNA. It's a perfect DNA.
You know what's funny though? It's banned all over the world, but guess who still practices it?
Who's that? Oh, women.
Yeah. That's the funny part.
If you think what's happening and what's biologically happening in our body, and that's what they're doing, they're sequencing. You can call it's the jumping gene, and Helen McClintock was her name that invented that, or had an intuitional feeling. That's the argument of intuition towards to rationality. And my argument was Einstein had intuition too, and he said this just doesn't smell right the way to my first one, but that's a different story. It kind of goes like they give females like, but that's what their body's doing. They're resequencing to the first signets to resemble yours. They're taking it's just a photograph of your DNA.
Yep, and not to mention, it wouldn't be surprised me if the government was still continuing this, in practice. They're probably going to perfect some, new super being or super soldier or something. I mean,
they could do that. I was watching on My Lee, today a video about the superconductor and how we can, and then sooner or later you will have these shields where you can shoot a bullet at someone and it's just going to bounce off of them and everything with the superconductors. And she disappeared after that. But yeah, technology is moving forward.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I have to accept. I mean, I decided to get on the technology train. I mean, I'm still gonna fight hard as I can to live around nature, but I can't, completely reject the idea of technology because of its many uses. I mean, I worry about its misuse, but that'll be something. I guarantee you, in upcoming years, this is it's going to be a major legal thing with a lot of
You
people.
want to get SFM mad? Just go, hey man, I seen a new hoverboard. You'll go, there's no such thing. Yeah, he is. And that was the superconductor. The first failure of the superconductor was the hoverboard. We were supposed to have these hoverboards, and then no, it didn't happen. But we're getting closer. I have some ideas on that. Why we think about it backwards. There's a transvaluation of what's happening there. They think about it backwards, and it's just of what should happen and what common sense would say should happen. But that's an argument. I don't know the exact. I could never sit there and write the whole. Well, I could, but it would just be too irritating for me to do. To write the whole, process down in math and explain it to them. But it would just be really irritating.
Yeah.
I used
You're
to
right,
do that, and then I got yelled at. My sister came in and she seen me doing it, and I was like, "Why are you?" She just yelled at me one day, and I was like, "I just do it for fun."
Mess.
Oh, because I was doing leukemia, and I was doing that at the end of leukemia. You always get to this point where you realize that the cure is like the retinal fluid in the eyes and the R3 gene, and I was trying to write it down mathematically. She yelled at me.
This is why I try to keep, records of stuff, because they've been deleting a lot of important stuff off of YouTube. I don't know why they've been, well, not just YouTube, but just off the internet as a whole, things that were once easily accessible. I'm trying to gather all the information that I can to hold on to it via flash drive or in other means. And by the way, A4 Forest. Yeah, I got to fight for your right to party.
Yeah, some things are worth having the example of it, so you can give the example when it's needed. One of the things that has been removed off of the internet was SID syndrome, sudden infant death syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a big thing. I don't know if you guys remember that in the 80s and late 80s. SIDS was like, why are these babies dying? And the realization was that because nurses were growing their fingernails long, because in the 80s and 90s, the early 80s, long fingernails were in style, and then they were feeding the babies and putting their fingers in their mouths, and then the bacteria from underneath their fingernails was killing the babies. But they totally removed that off the internet.
Yeah.
But that's good. It's good to know that, like, okay, when somebody does bring up SIDS or infant death or something, and it says we don't know everything, and is as close as the 80s were, even back then we were pretty stupid. So now you think about the jump we made in technology to 2020 is huge.
Yeah, we made a huge quantum leap in that. I mean, I don't know what the world's going to look like in the future. I just imagine every human's going to look very ambiguous and probably a hell of a lot stronger and not have the same weaknesses as the average person today.
Right. We can get by this. No, we still got to. We look at like our bodies and everything and what we are, and we're 40%. What we are right now is we're 40% artificial nitrogen.
Yep.
And
We're gonna.
it's a concern, it's like if you don't think we are getting bigger, better, stronger and everything, since Haber-Bosch, did the ammonium nitrate for fertilizer, and we have 8 million people on this planet now which rely on ammonium nitrate through Haber-Bosch processes to eat, and we're 40%. It's like, oh man, a couple more things here and we won't even resemble the humans that we used to be. That we'll have just, I don't know what kind of, we'll grow armor or something.
That would be really cool, because I'm interested in the evolution of the human race. Because I mean, there's a lot of. I just want to be there to see it, honestly, just to see how that
Yeah.
unfolds. I mean, I think that'd be magical. And
Yeah. I always say that I was born in the greatest time in history ever. I was born in this early '60s, and then so my childhood was, I had 3, 5, and 8, and it was all radio signals and AM radio and stuff. And from there, I got to watch everything. I got to watch computers come on, and I got to watch. I got to watch, TV, how it is now, and I got to watch all the inventions. So from the 1960s, where we were very, very primitive, to now, I got to watch it all. So I was born in this period of time, which is almost. I sometimes I think, like, why did I get that privilege?
But it's a magical time, man. And
Yeah.
the funny part about it is, I know that hundreds of years from now, if humans are still around, they're gonna look back on a lot of the stuff that happened and they're gonna go, "Wow, people used to actually think like that." And
Yeah, I think that's someday people wake up to, the father's rights and everything in the barbaric marriage situations we have here, and the way the government thinks and everything, and all that religionism, and everything. And they're going to look back and go, people, they rejected science, and they were, people were so stupid back then.
yeah,
And that's Neo-Darwinism. Our brains are evolving too.
yeah,
And I
I
think
agree.
we just went through this whole thing where we had because of the stresses of society and the stresses we put on ourselves, we stressed ourselves in the 50s, and we stressed ourselves in the 40s and the 30s. And imagine what we did to ourselves. Because of that stress, we super evolved in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000. We super evolved in the 60-year period.
It was a huge level up. I mean, and society's gonna have another one in the upcoming years. And I was trying to explain this to. I remember trying to explain this to one friend. He's like, "Well, they're trying to depopulate and replace everybody." And I said, the human species isn't going anywhere unless a meteor takes the planet out. We're not going anywhere. People are still going to be screwing, and even if people aren't screwing, the government will find a way to either get money out of us to make their, artificial babies or something somehow.
Well,
And I
yeah.
know it's a bit sci-fi,
As
but
soon as they figure out how to do artificial babies, guess what they're doing next? They're going to figure out how to do artificial meat.
yep. And that'll be the thing. I mean, a lot of problems of old will be, rendered irrelevant. I mean, an anime that I strong promote ever watching is Psychopaths and then Akira, because Psychopaths is an anime that all of your basic needs were met. Man, there was like a robot decided what clothes you would wear based on how you felt or your personality or whatever, and it would already have that picked out. You go to a place and it would give you like either your favorite food or what's what you need for your body, or just outright just give you food in pill form and whatnot. And I mean, there were options. I mean, and stuff. And what was funny about all this is crime was zero. And even if you thought about committing a crime, like they would get you long before you ever committed it. So I mean, they'd have this little future, like the gun wouldn't even activate unless the person's threat level or like mental state or whatever was in the fritz. So even the gun was PC. So it was one of those things to where there was no crime, but there was a need for crime because life just became stagnant, and technology will always evolve faster than us, and we're a creature. Although it doesn't apply to all of us, the human race is the only creature on the face of the earth that needs to have a sense of a purpose, and that's our greatest strength and kind of our Achilles heel in a way, because animals, they just do. They live, they screw, they die, they just do. They do what they do. But humans, we're kind of the same, but we need to have, we like knowing or feeling that every last one of our actions or choices have an impact of some kind, even if they don't. It makes us feel good. And I mean, hell, I'm guilty of it. I like to think my actions and choices will make some level of an impact, even 1% later down the road.
Yeah, having autonomy and that stuff is a great feeling. Freedom and choices are great and everything, but we'll see where that goes. I don't know where it's going to go. I can't pretend like I can see the future or anything and everything. But I suppose that it'll keep going the way it is, and humans will consider what's best for themselves.
That's true.
And to think that we won't is ridiculous, and that's the argument of these post-apocalyptic zombie future people, where they think it's just all going to go to hell. No, it's going to go on, and people are going to consider what's best for them, for everyone.
And that's why I've learned to be excited about it instead of fearing it. Like, maybe we'll even find a way to extend our lifespans and stuff like that. Who knows? I mean, it's a lot of these technological advancements are coming up fast, and people might want to start investing in this because there's a lot of money to be made.
I wish I can get some new body parts and just. Oh shit! I gotta call my friend. I forgot to do that again.
The guy with the heart thing.
Yeah, he texted me earlier today. He says he was going in at 6, and he backed it up 2 days, and then I don't know if my friend's alive.
Call him now. If you want to call him now, Black Wolf and I keep it going.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll get him. He usually doesn't. If he got out at 8, probably 9:10, he's probably not even done with operation. He's probably in there right now. And or in recovery.
Well, I hope he's okay. Hope everything turns out.
He lived fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And RP. I forgot. Yeah, you watched Psycho-Pass, and RP. You remember in the in the series? I mean, it was a bunch of brains and everything. That's I mean, you're right. It was still controlled by entity, but I think it was more AI.
Yeah. We have to wonder what AI is going to do for the human brain and everything, and whether we can, like a Johnny Mnemonic, like, can we get some storage up here?
Yeah. By the way, Jonathan, in the comment section, yeah. I can see Mgtow, a lot of us to stay single becoming rich. I mean, I tell people, Elon Musk is doing a lot of stuff. I'm pretty neutral when it comes to the guy. Some of the stuff he does kind of scares the shit out of me a little bit. But invest in Amazon, invest in technology, because that's where everything is fucking going. I mean, the moment I saw vertical farming, I knew I was fucked. The moment I saw that, we screwed.
I was talking about vertical farming with somebody the other day. Well, he had this crazy idea about hemp farming and vertical hemp farming as for the pluses of non-THC bearing hemp on the environment. And but I thought it was pretty crazy because I thought algae farming we got clover leaves everywhere you go in your city. How many clover leaves do you have on your highway?
Oh, well, not many.
Not
Clover leaves?
Yeah, like the off sections of the highway.
Oh,
but they spin around in a circle and go the opposite way, and there's that big area of land in the middle.
Oh, we got a few. We got a few of those, like close to
every
the
town's
city,
got.
I think.
There must be a million of them in America.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and if you took every one of those and you made them into algae-bearing wetlands, the carbon they take 400% more carbon than trees and bushes out of the. So a little jar like this of algae actually takes as much 400 times more than a tree out of the atmosphere. So if we did that, there goes our carbon problem.
Yep.
It's
Not
like
to
now if we
mention,
did that in vertical farming, you could take like 4 acres of land and just fill them with water, produce algae, and maybe some plant life on top of it, for frogs or fish, or start growing, a fish farm too, algae bearing fish farms, and you can, have a food product out of there too. And did that in a vertical farming situation, you can make that into, say, 40 acres in 1 acre.
yeah.
40 acres would take out as much carbon out of the air as 40 times 400 acres.
Not to mention, they found a way to condense like farms into small little like square spaces and everything. They have everything
Right.
stacked on top of each other, and I've seen those towers. Man, if somebody really wanted to, I guess this wouldn't be still in my idea because I highly doubt I'm the first one to come up with it. But if somebody wanted to just buy some property for the sole purpose of growing shit in the house and
Yeah.
never really using the house for anything other than that sole purpose, you can make a lot of money like that.
Yeah, I think Barbarossa was working on the problem of the fish farming, where he's trying to figure out how to take the oxygen bear on and pump that into the house, and then move the oxygen from his house over the algae, and then that way you'd have this sort of thing that was happening between you and the fish and the whole thing, and it was filtering the air, and it was taking the carbon out, and you're getting so. I wonder where he went on that. I wish I can call Barbarossa in, but I can't. I don't think he's on my Hangouts anymore. Ask him where he went with that. But I could probably do that in my backyard, if you really wanted the great air filter. I mean, you can interact with we were talking about transcendence earlier. That would be the transcendent of the human being interacting with the environment and transcending this thing that was going on around us, and you were actually fixing your living situation, and the fish and the plants were doing good too. It's like that would be the idea of transcendence.
Exactly. I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's what's funny about this is like everything that's happening complements the monkhood. We can all still make money and do all this stuff
we can
and
still make
still
money.
live.
You know what the byproduct of algae farms is?
Algae farms. What's the byproduct of that? I never.
Fuel.
You
can make an artificial fuel out of the algae that you take from the farms.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can. So
learn something new.
Yeah, it's you can look it up. It's fuel from algae and hydro something. I can't remember what they call it. But
hydronomical.
Yeah. We already have the resources in the clover leaves, every one of those clover leaves, and every inch of the highway, the section in between the two roads, the forge between the two roads where you see grass and you have to cut it.
Yeah, I'm looking at I remember these huge algae farms and everything. I just didn't know you could use that as a fuel source.
As a fuel source, yeah. Now you can start doing clean, renewable fuel from the algae to make electricity. And all our problems are solved, but people don't want to think about this. You can grow so much algae on our highway systems and then collect it. Like in between, you drive on a highway for miles and miles, you see nothing but mowed grass. Now we're using fuel to mow that grass, and if you just put in a wetlands in those things, which you can control the wetlands and filter the water that you run through it, and you can have wildlife and everything in there, and the algae farms, you can collect the algae as a product that employ people and run our system all in one, just remarkable. Just if one guy that was in charge or had any authority said, let's just do this and screw everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to argue about it. And we did it. We fix almost everything that's wrong with this world.
That may be possible if I can get enough. I know where Mgtow essentially went, but hell, we don't have to call it that. I've been trying to get preppers on board with this because they don't like mainstream society. Neither do I. They can still do whatever they want to do, but we need as many intelligent, able-bodied people we can find because I like for me the algae thing beats my water mill idea because if done correctly, a person can eliminate their electricity and like gas and all that. Like all those bills can be taken care of easily to where you don't have to pay a cent.
Yeah, you can use other sustainable methods like the water mill. And I was thinking about the other day about Tesla's generator motor. What do you call that? Tesla's turbine the other day in water. I was going to talk to you about it because I know you're interested in that. If you can make a small Tesla turbine, then but I don't. The concept would have to be worked through and everything. That might be really, really generate enough to
Tesla
run.
turbine. I'm definitely gonna look that up because like speed and momentum was a bit of an issue. I built a model version of it.
Right,
you can get decent electricity from it. It's the constant. It's maintaining that's a problem.
Right, maintaining it, and you have to have the right size and do the math on that, and that's the golden rule. I think you would just apply the golden rule of 1 to 161 on that, and then watch the spiral of life. The golden rule is pretty interesting if you ever get a chance to look that up, and it's kind of a freaky thing in science. That's 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5, and you go on and on and on, and all those things are 1 to 161. And now once you start looking for it in life, it's everywhere. Your hand, your arm, your body, your proportions, everything that grows is all 1 to 161. It's like, wow. No, a lot of the religious people go, see, there was a designer. But no, there's a pattern to how the universe structures itself.
There's a book I read a long time ago, and it was a pretty profound book. I mean, the title probably pissed a lot of people off. I think it was called like God is Dead or something. That title alone pissed people off. But I remember reading the book, and it wasn't even so much of an attack on religion. It was pretty much letting them know that what we couldn't explain, now we have explanations for them, so we don't need to use this anymore.
Right. I remember that argument in the 60s and 70s, and when I was a kid about the New York Times had posted. I can't remember the big event that happened. And then the New York Times did God is Dead. And I can't remember what event that was. Still, when I was a child, it was a big issue. And the Christians were, well, at that time, Christianity was overbearing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff may have been good at one point, but the old ways are kind of holding us back too. I mean,
they're kind of holding us back. I believe in the right of these people to grab comfort from a belief, and I'm going somewhere better. But they can rearrange their beliefs to something more logical, and still keep their beliefs. Like okay, now we okay, let's just do the designer, or something like that, and they could still do it. I mean, they would have to mature and evolve with the rest of us, and it would force them to mature and evolve with the rest of us. But I don't want to take that from some old lady sitting in a church, praying for a dead husband because she's lonely. That's cruel. But still, there are other ways to redo this thing, and I think Nietzsche talks about and thus stroke Zarathustra, how we can rethink these things. And
I was truly a man ahead of his time, way ahead of his time.
Yeah. So I like to see them grow and get aboard this evolution that's happening right in front of them, But there's the conservative bias is that's a hard thing. You can tell somebody, the conservative bias is when you tell somebody a scientific truth about something and they balk back to what they believed before.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even hear it. It was a flyby. And it's a very powerful thing.
It really is. I mean, that level of indoctrination. I'm not gonna lie. There was a point in my life where I was extremely Roman Catholic, and then when I had my beliefs questioned, it was like my whole world was being shattered. Man, I I really did not like that being questioned, and it wasn't until later in life I realized, was I bothered because those were my beliefs, or was I bothered because that's what I was taught? And it was the second one. When
Right.
you're taught something, you're never taught why. You're gonna take things personal that wasn't even meant to be taken personal. And I felt personally attacked, and most religious people do. They feel personally attacked when you tell them that you don't agree with A, B, and C, or you disprove anything like that, or you disprove something that they're talking about. Right or wrong, they shouldn't take it personal. You're just arguing their point, and so people no longer really know how to debate anymore without trying to bring up personals or go for straight up attacks. So.
Reading. Well, I was trying to sleep, so I put an audio book on today, and it was about the science of emotions and everything. And I'm trying to link personality traits with the science of emotions right now, and all the new technology that we know is true and everything. And he was talking about that subject about people denialism and that stuff, and it's ingrained in people's personalities, and they're just having emotions is what they're having. And a lot of the problems today is people have these emotions about things where they do the conservative thing, and it's becoming a problem. And but this is when we look at schizophrenia, and these people are almost resembling schizophrenics, where we know that we can teach them right and wrong. All we have to do is teach them right and wrong. They were never given the opportunity in their lives to know right and wrong. And now we with the internet and everything, and with the way we teach and everything now, they'll complain about it too. You can see the conservatives they're anti-education, and it's like, but we can teach them the differences between right and wrong now, and this is how to think about things, and it's not all that hard.
Exactly. I'll be right back. I have to turn the sprinkler on real quick. I got one of those little portable sprinklers. It's gonna be like a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Hey,
Joey, take over. I'll be right back.
Joey got it.
Are we live?
Life Tracker and Life Coach programs got it. Blackwolf, you got to get a name next time you come, and a sarcastic name.
We got to give him another name. Yeah,
when he comes in, I know he skips by that portion, but that's the fun portion when you can think about a sarcastic name. Yeah. We were talking about that last week with what I need to further my sarcasm.
I know. It's funny. It's funny when people don't get it, though. They don't get the circuit. Like I make fun of London all the time, but I mean, I really don't hate that country or hate the people. I met a lot of nice people from the UK.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of nice people from the UK. We just joke and jest, and
right,
and yeah.
But yeah, you had like 18. You're up to 18 viewers today. It's pretty good. It's been steady, 17.
Oh,
18,
yeah. The more we go, generally, like I used to do. And one of the guys were asking a question about like, why don't I do what I used to do? And it became very hard for me to do that. But if we just continue and we get guests that come in every week, interesting people that want to talk about interesting subjects, it'll grow. And not everybody's gonna, my personality doesn't, it's one of the things that I look at myself and being honest about what I am and everything. Sometimes my personality is not, it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Well, you're pretty reasonable though and flexible. I mean, like you were saying about that, woman wants to pray to, go to church. It comes to go to church and do those things. I mean, you're flexible. 200 miles of fake ideas like that. I think they give people outs, stuff like that.
Yeah, we can talk about this. Yeah, you're Frankensteining a little bit there with your sound.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh no, I was just saying I think you're pretty flexible on a lot of things, though. So
yeah. All I pretty much now is after I went through my no more casual cruelty thing, and that wouldn't be a part of my personality anymore. It's like I'm pretty flexible. If you prove me wrong on something, I'll just agree and say, okay, now I know better. And but that has to yet happen. If someone comes in, because I always give people the opportunity to come in and argue with me if they want to.
Yeah, they don't come around, do they? Because they don't have the facts. You backing up with facts and
so you just slap facts on things, and people get scared off because they can't do the. I was reading about that this week too, about what it was called when people don't use facts and they just kind of go on emotion and everything, and they believe that's a good way to go. I'll go back and reread that book. I got way too many books I bought. I got to do another one today. I got to pick out a new book. I was thinking about the Kurt Vonnegut's Son. I was going to reread that one. That it's interesting.
I saw a post. I saw a post on there. I posted on one of your videos about that. His son. What was his son's name?
What was it? Greg? Not Greg Martin, or I can't remember his name. I have it put in my Audible for the next book I buy, and but he doesn't
look it up. His son Mark. Is it Mark?
Mark, yeah, Mark Varnigan. But he said something very interesting in the prelogue to his book. And when he's talking, he has a problem with schizophrenia, and he cured his schizophrenia and became a doctor. So he's inspirational, and he started thinking sort of Mgtow at a certain point. He's married and everything, but he started thinking he says with these barren forests that we look out or over here, and he's being metaphysical, and he says we're going to have to send our children out into that, and through them forests they're going to have to traverse these things, and there will be landmines in those forests. And he was talking like a Mgtow, like the landmines and marriage and stuff like that. So he back in what's it called, something of Eden, they started a hippie community, so I can relate because I was raised in a hippie community. But yeah, when we send our children out, we rather send them out with a Mgtow attitude where they can bypass the landmines and traverse these dark, barren forests, reasonably in life and everything. And there will be downfalls, and there will be people that trying to give them drugs and trying to psychedelics and those things, and like they're going to have to be ready for that. And so I was going to read that and see what his thoughts I think he wrote in 1968. So it will be outdated, but there are still some ideas which I'd like to see. I remember there was a guy, he was schizophrenic, and I was doing the drug and alcohol thing with him, and I was getting very frustrated. And one of the nurses ran up to me, and she handed me Mark Varnegut's book, and she says, read this section here. And it was a very good description on schizophrenia and what the client's going through, what he's experiencing, and I couldn't understand at that moment. I was getting frustrated. It was I can't remember what you call the actual disease. He was schizophrenic, and he was trying to say something, and I wasn't understanding because I was biasing myself because I was getting irritated. And after I read that, I wanted to read the whole book, and I started to, but I never did finish it. But the idea with that guy was he thought that he was everybody that walked by. He said, "Did you steal my dollar? I know you stole my dollar." And he'd get up on him like schizophrenics do. And what he was saying he's always thought people were stealing from him. But the idea, after I came to realize, I did the psychological evaluation, is yes, schizophrenia was stealing his life, and I needed to be more. I needed to be more empathetic, and to see he was just screaming out, like, this is stealing my life. And sometimes those books like that are really insightful.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look at people and the problems they have and everything, and Mgtow's are we're ultra sympathetic, and I think we're about the most altruistic people there are. When we look at people in society, think about what he's going through, about how horrible it is living in a state of schizophrenia, and bipolar kids in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I still, to this day, have to adjust my thinking when and just think about what are they feeling. And that's one of the books that people should read. And
all right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that book was interesting because we just kind of stumbled when we were talking. We started talking about Varnick in here and how interesting his ideas are. And then the guy texted me and he says, "Yeah, Mark Varnick was his dentist." Or his physician. And he says, and we started talking, his pediatrician, and we started talking about Mark Varnick, and then I remembered like reading that excerpt, and it's like it changed the way I think about it at that point. Like I say, I'm not a very good counselor because my personality doesn't. I don't have bedside manner, and sometimes I don't understand things like that. So as I get older, with the casual cruelty thing and no more casual cruelty and being more understanding and reading stuff like that, I can become a better person. And that's 100% Mgtow. Because I used to be a prick, that blue pill prick that everybody was. And that was part of it. That's a part of your personality that Mgtow can give you back, fill some of those holes.
That's what's great. That's what's great about it. You get to be, you get to be you for the first time, because the blue pillars, they're uniquely the same, like just same cookie cutter, and it just, they got different, shape. The cookie cutter may have different shapes and whatnot, but the pastry's still the same,
now we can think about them in the same manner as like they have a disease, and we have to empathize with that disease and try to understand, because we do know how they feel and why they're doing what they're doing, and why they believe they have no other choices and everything. But it's up to us to have the empathy and sympathy to try to explain them and try to cure them from their disease. And I think that's the biggest reason why we're here, to act in that capacity. What was that in the background?
That was a South Park clip that I had.
That was a South Park clip?
Yeah. I had this funny little 16-second South Park clip on my, that's what I get every time I get a text message.
Oh, okay. You get a, that's cool. That's probably funny too. Was that Butters?
Yeah, well, that's spot on. Yeah, it was Butters.
Butters got some great line when he got the hose. Butters hose.
Yeah, It was so funny because Butters did this thing. Butters like accidentally became a pimp, and he had this thing where he was talking to Kyle. He's like, "Do you know what I am saying?"
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I remember that one. It was a good Mgtow. It was a good Mgtow conversation we had about that certain episode, and Butters was the pimp.
That was so funny because he couldn't refute that logic, And Stan was like, "Butters, you keep talking about my girlfriend, like I'm gonna punch you in the face." He's like, "Hey Kyle, here's $20. If Stan comes near me, hit him for me."
Oh, he had what's her name as the thug? It was Kyle's sister.
Yeah. Oh man, I like how he poured out Stan's life. He's just to Kyle. He's like, "Well, I could have ended up like Stan over there, Like I get kisses for free, but like we're selling like kisses, and Stan over there, he has to listen to her damn problems, and now he's paying for it, how miserable he is."
Oh man, that was a great episode, yeah.
Yeah, it was an epic red pill moment. There are a lot of red pill gems in South Park and a lot of these cartoons. So, and even anime. There's a lot of places one can find it. I mean, one of my favorite shows is Rick and Morty. That's a really funny show.
Yeah, with those two guys, what was it, Trey and the South Park, the creators of South Park and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can look at those guys, and they were both from Collinwood shootings.
Oh, are you talking about Columbine? Columbine?
Yeah, they both went to Columbine, and how that changed their lives and how that changed the way they think about the things in life and everything. And it's very important to look at that and say, in some of the little the logic things that they like when Stan gives his summation at the end, or some of those things. I mean, look at those because they're telling you something. It's not just it's not just sarcasm and parody, but sometimes they really make a point, and that's based on their life experiences. And they both had to witness one of the most horrible events in the history of the United States, and or what they look at is, I think they did some talking about that at one point, with what produced these events, the teachers and the adults in the community, and the thinking that they were doing produced the events that had happened.
That's wild, man.
And it's funny as fuck too. What was the town that's next to him that they go, that's hell?
I watched the season 5, I believe, premiere of Rick and Morty, and I busted out laughing near the end.
Yeah, because the sea god, what's his name?
The sea guy was really funny, but Jessica, that girl that that Morty was after, she
went to get the cog.
Yeah, she went in there and she was frozen in that little thing where she saw time happen, like time passed by for like hundreds of years. And I was laughing because I said, "Damn, that is so Mgtow." She comes out and says, "I think we should just be friends, but we have plenty of moments." Some guy in the car says, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's like, "Fuck off, I'm a time god now."
yeah, that was a great ending. I'm a time god now.
Yeah, that's what it's like being Mgtow. It's like you see all this shit unfold.
His superpowers is he controls the cops.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. The first episode of Rick and Morty, season 5, is on YouTube.
Yeah, Adult Swim was so cool. They uploaded the whole episode.
Yeah, they did.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I watched it this morning. It was like, okay, that was a great start to it.
It wasn't funny as hell how like Morty like really wanted to get pussed that day to the point where he came in there with weapons and everything. Like, yeah, I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's simped hard, and he was like goes back in with what he kills everybody for that bottle of wine, so he can get her drunk.
That's why like simps are very dangerous. I know
Yeah,
we shit on them a lot, but simps can become very dangerous when the object of their desire is within reach, or they feel it's within reach. They'll
yeah,
take out anybody and anything.
they'll kill a whole world to get that, and that's what we always say. Why simps are so dangerous, and even though you know Rick or Morty is just Morty, it's like, but when he turns that thing on, that thing snaps. The simp can hurt anybody, you know.
Yeah. And the scary part about it is Mgtows are more like, Jessica at the end of the episode or Rick, but
Yeah,
Morty is like the perfect embodiment of a simp. I mean, despite there being people who are either stronger or more intelligent than him, I mean, simps don't care about that. Like none of that applies to a simp. And I tell people this all the time. When they go off, everybody gets hurt.
everybody gets hurt. Yeah, they just that's what do we call it? IUD males. They got they just go off, and that's the simping. What is that? Intermediate explosive disorder. They seem to just do that, and you see it on the streets. You see it on everywhere now with the simps, and it usually starts with that idea of what I would do for a loved one or what I would do for my family, and he considers her the loved one. And the whole rest of the world just becomes victims to what the corruption of what I would do for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad like how everyone reaches a level of enlightenment. I've kind of seen a lot of like over the seasons. Rick has kind of stayed the same, but he has his black pill moments. Jessica had her weird, crazy moment of enlightenment. I
Yeah,
feel like Morty has not like become comfortable with himself enough.
yeah.
I think he's just kind of in that fuck everything mode, and it's
No, in the last episode, they should make Marty into a Mgtow. I
yeah,
send him a letter about that, and
because he really should, man. Like he lusts after all these women, and if he applied that energy just anywhere else in his life, he'd have been okay. I mean, what I didn't understand about this is there's multiple different universes and multiple different Jessicas. I don't know why he didn't just freaking kidnap one and call it a day. Just
just
hell.
go find that. Yeah. Go find the Nawalt one.
Yeah, go
And
find the
they
one.
did have an episode where they had a Nawalt farm, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they're on the wall, and somehow his dad messed that up.
Yeah.
Just man, he was. I thought, okay, man, Maury's gonna be okay, but they
Yeah.
had some hope for him. But yeah, this isn't the first time Morty's done this, though. I mean, he destroyed an entire universe just to try to screw Jessica in one episode. He destroyed the whole planet,
Yeah.
pretty much. So, I mean, to me, I mean, there's nothing the chick got that's gonna push me to that damn nothing. Nothing
No.
anybody has that I want that's gonna put me
Got
on that
nothing.
kind of path.
Yeah, she got nothing I want anymore that would make me think that way anymore. But that's that's what these guys are going through. They we have to tell the truth on it. That's what make that continue to tell the truth. It's all due to bacterial. The once you take that kiss, once you start rubbing that on you, you're had. Your body produces drugs, and those drugs make you think in a different way. Uh, the hormones are terribly effective on males, and that's what there should be a pill out. You were talking to me the other day about what can we invent that would be useful to make and we sell, a pill that would just take that and just stop those hormones from producing. That
Yeah,
would be the ultimate birth control for men. Just stop them thinking that way, stop them from simping.
that would be perfect, man. Because these the hedonism, man. Like I swear, there needs to be like some kind of version of an AA meeting for sex addicts.
Yeah,
Because
I
there's
tried to
these.
start one, and they wouldn't let me. Once they found out that it was what they deemed as a misogynist meeting, and it was
Well, yeah, like the moment you say, "What if we stopped giving women money?" All of a sudden, just a SWAT just kicks in the roof and the door, like,
Yes, well, yeah, it wasn't quite that way. The community, I wanted to do it in the AA community because, like I say, 65% of those guys aren't alcoholics. 65% of those guys are drinking themselves to death because they got girl problems. And if I explained Mgtow to them, that would end the girl problems and explain how to get out the bacteria out of your body, go celibate for a little bit and look at the world, start enjoying nature, get out and start, being creative with your life, get a hobby and all those things. There's a million little things that we Mgtows do to fill in the holes in what we consider them holes in our soul, to be happier, better people. And but they wouldn't let me do that. It was going to be a men's group and then I would personally men. But
that's why you got to do it covertly, man.
Yeah, you have to do it covertly. I would have to lie about why I was selecting these men, and that would be. And I'm good at that. I'm sort of as far as the what would you call it? The counseling point of drug and as long as I don't have to interact in an emotional level with people, I just interact in a sort of administrative capacity. I'm really good at that.
I mean, there's just so many avenues we could tackle this, and I realize, we might as well play their little silly game if that's the way they're going to be about it. Come up with our own
right
way to have things done.
AA is a great model for how to build a community that's an autonomous community, because that's exactly what they did. They built an autonomous community, and it's like if you look at the model of that, I think Mgtow can learn a lot from that. Not take about the religious list. We can do away with that and create our own steps and stuff, but just follow the model, the group dynamics of the model, and I think that's a good starting point. How we could start having Mgtow meetings and stuff like that, and
that's the thing. We'd have to find a way to I thought about that for a long time. If we evolve, we do something new, we wouldn't be able to use the Mgtow label anymore. We'd still be Mgtow, but we'd have to find a way to just
to cloak it. It'd have to be anonymous and Men's Anonymous or something, where we don't have to give our names. You just say, "Hi, I'm Joe." Don't give your surname, and that's what that's about. And I'm a recovering simp.
I'm gonna call Joey at 3 a.m. I saw this girl's butt the other day, and I'll relapse. They used to come over and slap me.
Yeah, it'd be like, good, you called your sponsor, man. That's just the sponsor would be just a wiser member that's been in the community longer. That like, man, here's a number. Call me if you start going through those simp moments. Start chasing that poo-tang. If it's too much for you, I can help you. We'll be there for you. I always thought that was a better model than what we have going now, which is everybody just yells at each other.
Yeah, at least it'd have some order. And down at RP, I'm still calling a redo of a Healer Mgtow the anime. That is closest we're ever gonna get to a Mgtow anime. That's a
Healer of the Mgtow anime.
yeah. Redo of a Healer is something that you would think would be a hentai or like a porn anime, but it turned into a story about revenge, and everything that guy goes through is just so messed up, man. He's like the embodiment of Mgtow in an anime character.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. So there's little gems out there. I figure if anime and and all this other stuff can do it, what's stopping us from making our own groups? I mean,
Yeah, that
I
would
don't
be.
know.
I think that was Marcus's idea when he started diddling around with the anime, and he did the little anime series that he did. And they're like, okay, we could take this bigger if we wanted to, and it was well received by most of Mgtow's, you know. But we do have talented people in Mgtow that we need to start working together, and each of our specific skill sets. When you get, like I always say, when you get 5 men in a room together, and that's a business.
There's a hell of a market for it. I mean, like things have swung so far in one direction that the act of just disagreeing is part of counterculture. I never thought I'd be alive to see a day when like right leaning anything just became part of counterculture. It's hilarious. I mean, I've had people make crazy assumptions about me. Like, oh, he's a trad con. I was like, no, I'm just saying in general that people should make better choices. I just recently found out through some small amount of research that the older a woman gets and she has a baby, it puts her life and the child's at risk.
Oh yeah,
The older she is, and that might explain why we have a high number of children with mental and physical disabilities because
right. Because the age of the female is progressing right now, and that started right as when autism started making its curve up. That was one of the analogies to that. But yeah, they thought that would be the cure to the responsible female: get her a career, get her successful, then she can decide whether she has babies or not, which is probably a good idea. But evolution says that the time to have children is this period of time between 18 and 24. But that's totally opposite for men too. Actually, men have our DNA, which is going to have longer telomeres at the as we get older, and it's like it's better for women to have babies with elderly men, because it extends their life period. Uh, just basically through imprinting, genetic imprinting. Life experience gets imprinted on the DNA, and that's what I'm trying to talk about with the anneals. Them things we still haven't figured those out yet. But what gets imprinted?
yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of research to be done, and women, women have essentially been playing God with children since forever, and they need to be, just like we were stripped of that ability, they need to be stripped of that as well because they can't handle. They can no longer handle the mental responsibility of that based on the direction society is going. And
Right.
so, what I'm saying is, what's going on now is it's not working. It
Yeah.
hasn't worked for a long time, and it needs to be replaced with something else. It most likely will because even the government's going to get tired of carrying them. They're going to drop them the moment it's not convenient anymore.
I kind of went over you there with your comment about we'll readdress that with sometimes in Mgtow when you get called a trad con for learning the truth about something which is an unfriendly truth to men, is what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of those moments where, like I say, with the fatherhood and stuff, that's an unfriendly truth for some of these tribes, but that exposes their tradconness when you tell an unfriendly truth, and that's our introspection thing. Look deep down inside yourself and see what you are, then that will produce unfriendly truths that you need to change too. And Mgtow needs to change still. Mgtow's not at the point where we're all perfect, It's like, no, there's going to be unfriendly truths that we need to learn too. And some of these truths will agree with feminism. We won't agree with feminism. We'll agree with the science, or maybe we're totally wrong about something. And we still need to look at those things. We still need to critique these things. And you're going to be sitting there one day and you're going to realize that, oh shit, like you did. It's like, this is a truth and this has something to do with something. I haven't ran the syllogism to the other end yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, and this is why I'm happy for the existence of the group. I mean, we can only go up at this point. We already hit rock bottom. We can only go up, and this is why I don't even bother with the infiltrators anymore. They tell them themselves eventually.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they go track on you, and they do those things, and whatever you do, they're always just going to call you a simp.
Yeah,
like,
that's why
you must be gay.
You know, I've been called that so many times. Now I just like
that's pretty funny.
I actually can go along with it now, and then they don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
if we ever just sit down and talk about that comment and how that just tells on them, and it's like that's
women and their backwards logic. I mean, they wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, we love the rainbows," and then turn around and call you one.
Yeah,
as an insult. It's just kind of. I mean, they seem to be more concerned about what they do than anybody. And
right, yeah. It's the image thing that the women try to project. They protect their image at all costs, because image is everything for them. Even though they will say like, "Oh, slut shaming and this and everything," and people shouldn't do that. But you think about what they do; they protect their image at all costs. It's like really kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
But, I mean, hedging. I was thinking about that today. Oh, women hedge their bets, even in relationships. That's what they're doing. They're hedging their bet, and that's what hypergamy is about. And they hedge their bets with emotional things too. With men, they always hedge their bet, and protecting their image is everything. Because if that's damaged, and they don't get to hedge that bet anymore.
Yeah, that's why progression will happen. I mean, it's to the point where I thought about all the stuff that MRA did and like all these other guys, like people air quote tried. And the thing is, we don't have to do anything. Just stand out of the way. Like it will correct itself or get so bad that it'll have no choice but to correct itself. And I guess the one thing that I get mad about, I'm so sick of people calling us a freaking movement. I try to not even get mad about it, but they these other guys that claim they want to help men, they always make women the face of helping men, and the moment they do that, they've already failed. They don't even know it.
That's what the MRA does, and they figured bringing in them women at the time when they were really doing really well, and they were collecting money and getting ready to really boom right before they made that stupid Red Pill movie. They paid her that. Well, I don't know what way that went and everything, but they let the girls in, and well, there it went.
Yeah, I mean, it just went straight down the tube. That's why all this stuff with the CME, the Central Men's Excellence, all that stuff. There's dudes just capitalizing and making it into a cash grab, and trying to get more money from men and everything. And that it'd be one thing if they were selling a product, but they're so. I mean, that just goes to show you the level of contempt society and even the average person has for men. I mean, men screw over men, women do it, society does it. It's just we have to, find some kind of way to unionize ourselves in some way, some way, even without a leader or anything. We have to have.
Yeah, we do. You still have to use common sense, and what is that message from the CMA? Just masculine, man up, and become masculine. I don't understand that. The whole thing is, it's like masculinity is the cure for what's going on now, and isn't that just giving women what they want?
Exactly, because it's a win-win for them. If men stay tough,
win-win for them, and it's hard to achieve for us. It's like, and it lays blame on you for being born as. Too.
And that's what's really funny about it. Do nothing, and women win. Put them in their place, and women win. it's a lose-lose, and so it's just easier to let evil hurt itself. I mean, if they're gonna promote evil things, then
it's just another form of just world fallacy, and it's like all you got to do is just man up and just be more masculine, and that's what they're saying. And none of us have a problem with our man. I don't. think too many Mgtows have a problem with masculinity.
Well, yeah, there was that time I went to the gym with RP. You know, he slapped me into the wall, and I told him I'm going to become an absolute unit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of. If anything, Mgtow is kind of the, when you're doing them things with women, you're introducing more estrogen into your body and everything, and you're becoming actually emasculated. And the MRA still hasn't got to the point where they believe in abstinence for reasons of masculinity. Uh, it's like, I mean, I really, it's hard for me to understand the way they think. And when I look at some of them, I just can tell, like, no, he's still like indulging, because he looks like they're clean shaved. They're rather ladylike. They always talk about removing all the hair off their bodies and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, as we get older, we should become comfortable with our masculinity and like who we are as a person. And just like RP said, I mean, I laugh when women call me gay now for not putting up with their bad behavior. I just look at them and go, okay, what's wrong with that?
That
And
double hypocrisy they throw on top of that. It's like, oh, they want you to be what they want you to be so they can say you are that.
And not to mention, it's a form of character assassination. And, and my thing is, I'm gonna start telling people I'm asexual just to get them off that, because it's just obviously I'm still attracted to women, but if they're that desperate to try to, like, because for a woman calling a man gay is an attack on, like, a man's masculinity, and they think it's supposed to, like, well, they do it to get a reaction or a rise, so you go for you to get mad and go and
you get
prove
mad,
yourself.
do what they want to. Yeah,
they want you to.
It's more manipulation and cunning.
They want, they want men to prove themselves. And the last woman that pulled that with me, I told her, because she's like, oh, you're a man, prove you're a man. What are you, gay? I was like, no, but I would be if I would, stand up and try to prove I'm a man to you, because that would make me insecure and probably closeted, if anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the same thing with you Mgtows just hate, you're misogynist, and then I had to explain to him that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And there's something a little less about indifference, isn't there? Hate is altogether, that's in a group of love. There's love, jealousy, them personality traits in that group are, when you look at that group, it's very it's like, why would you ever want to be in that group? It's like indifference is the opposite, and that's a totally different other group of traits. It's like, so it's still explaining things to people like that where they don't listen, and they don't they won't hear you anyways. How their thinking is off on those things, and it's convenient for them to say that like if you're a Mgtow you must hate women. No, we don't hate. We hear that all the time. It's like, that's your misinterpretation of language.
And that's what's funny about it. If anybody hates women, it most likely be the PUAs and the simps. I mean, they dedicate their whole lives to doing anything,
right? When you're
good or bad, to get a woman.
It works out exactly the difference. Yeah, they are. That's would be misogyny, the MRAs and the PUAs and all those things, and the Mgtow is just indifferent. And
I mean, hell, even the rainbows. I mean, like, even homos are heavy. They're heavy supporters of feminism. They're heavy supporters of women. So their insult at calling like us homos is very ironic.
Well,
because those are their biggest supporters.
Yeah, the incel thing really bothers me, because what is an incel? It's a disadvantaged male. But when you hear them talk in their groups and everything, they're all for helping disadvantaged people. And it's like, look at these disadvantaged girls and everything, and look how disadvantaged they are. And they start using that language. It's like, and then they'll go, well, these incels, like it's something bad. What you're talking about is a disadvantaged male that was born with qualities with those. He deserves every right in this society to engage with the same kind of benefits as other disadvantaged people.
Exactly. I mean, I used to give the incels crap a long time ago, but then I just eased up because I realized that's the conclusion they came to, and but I do agree. I do agree. It gets kind of old getting confused with them all the time because apparently people don't know what the word involuntary means. The average person.
Yeah, involuntary celibacy is exactly what it means. They're involuntarily doing that, and of course, why are they involuntarily doing that? By cause.
Exactly.
Because is a great word, but by cause is like because they were disadvantaged males. So you're picking on a disadvantaged person, a person with disability. You're picking on people with disabilities.
Exactly. I mean, and
they're
what's
supposed
really
to be the champion of people with disabilities or people like that, and we leave the championship to them. No, these people are stupid.
and they're really disturbed. I mean, they're really
disturbed,
mentally and spiritually disturbed, and that's what's really crazy about it. I had to explain the difference between the two to one chick that got mad at me, and I told her, well, incels, they still want women versus we as Mgtow,
right?
and I think a lot of people
Yeah,
forget
incels
this as
still
well.
want they want to be normal, but they can't. It's like, wow. But MGTOWs are voluntarily celibate. We're not. What we are is we're asexual when asexuality is the default position, and they don't understand that. It's like,
I think they purposely do this, in my opinion, because to try to go. It's their sad justification to say like, oh, they're Mgtow because they can't get a woman,
right,
which
yeah,
would kind of defeat the purpose because we have experiences with women. Most Mgtow that we've encountered, and this goes to anybody that hates us or likes listening to us, like just to put it on the record. Most Mgtow have been in long-term relationships, or
right.
had some of them even messed up and got married and had kids and everything. So it's not a lack of sex or a lack of being around women or being able to,
It's a knowledge of something that existed in the future. That's by cause. I became MGTOW because things caused it. And they'll go, oh, you just chose wrong. You just did this. No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. They put the blame off on you. And,
it's always that that apologetics. They make you apologize to them for things that they've done, that their miscalculated society has done, or their malformed society has done to males that caused them to. Mgtow was not born in a vacuum. This whole thing started because life became intolerable for us. The human condition became intolerable.
Yeah, we're just doing what any creature would do. I mean, we're trying to find the best way to survive with minimal damage.
Yeah, we used to do the mouse experiment analogy on that one. It was like, what did the beautiful ones do? They went up and they separated themselves from all the ones that were breeding in the middle and overpopulating the thing, and they because they wanted to avoid all the horrors that went along, the cannibalism, you look at the mouse experiment there, and you look at what happened. There was the breeders were eating each other and fighting all the time, and well, look out there. So the Mgtow rose above. We transcended to the higher. We just sat and we cleaned ourselves and ate when we wanted to and enjoyed life, and we wished we can get out. That's the thing. That my point is, if they didn't have to be in that cage, they would have left.
Exactly. I mean,
we don't have to be in that cage. We leave.
Exactly. That's why people are mad at us. I mean, we stopped thinking with the little head and started thinking with the big one.
Yeah, that was my point. And I did a video on that. Like, everybody was getting that mouse thing wrong, and but they were looking at the obvious: is the mice were stuck in a cage because the rulers or the humans put them in that cage. And if they could have left, what would they do? They would escape and go start their own little communities.
Yep. By the way, RP, you're not a ram, so you can't become an absolute unit, man. Put that beer down.
Put that beer down. Beer down.
But yeah, man, and that joke's in reference to a cartoon called Close Enough, which is made by the creators that made regular show. And the main character, he has this daughter. He can't lift her up because he's too weak, so he goes to the gym and he gets all like jacked up and everything, and he just becomes too strong. And the messed up part is he did all that just I mean, it was admirable, like to be able to play with her and everything. She told him I don't care about anything like that, but just the lengths that he would go to do these kinds of things. I mean, it's just like it just goes to show you. That's why I came up with the term like men of the giving gender, because we really are. I mean, he did all that just to be able to play with her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy. It's like,
yeah, and yeah, RP, I'm gonna have to slap RP into the wall now because he's trying to get yoked. Don't get yoked, RP. We don't want you to turn to the absolute unit.
The absolute unit.
Yeah, you checked it out. It's funny as hell, man. All you got to do is type it close enough.
Yeah,
absolute unit. Yeah, in fact, I'll drop a link in that. Let me just.
Okay, I'll watch it. Okay.
Cavs got the 3-pick, Joe.
They got the 3-pick.
Yeah.
Let me
Pistons got 1, Rockets 2, Cavs 3.
Pistons, Rockets.
Not bad.
Okay. Oh,
They'll get somebody good.
Up from
Yeah.
That sucks. At least the Cavs didn't get booted down this year again, because they got 2 years before they got like booted down to the 5th or 6th, or it's like, so they pretty much moved up 2 spots. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
They get somebody good.
Yeah, what's the guy that's Claiborne is the number 1?
Cade Cunningham.
Cade Cunningham. Yeah, I wish we could. He looks real. He's
good. He's good. He's a better version of Ben Simmons. He can shoot.
Yeah, and he might be the next LeBron James. He looks that fluid. He looks that athletic and everything. It's like, but we'll get 3 now. The thing I was thinking about is after the first 3, then you got point guards, and we need a point guard like we need a hole in the head.
Yeah.
So we get so hopefully we can just take there was
that
one
kid Mitchell. That kid Mitchell's going to be good. He's a guard for Baylor.
Yeah, there was Cade Cunningham, which is a forward, and then there was a center, and then there was the next guy that was a forward. So were the top 3s?
Yeah, Mobley for USC.
Yeah,
and they got that guy Suggs will be a good player. He'll be good.
Yeah, we need someone about 6'8" to 6'11" that can really move the ball, and
yeah,
because we already have Sexton.
Davion Mitchell's going to be really good. He can shoot it, and he's athletic, strong kid. Yeah, he's a good player.
The thing I was thinking is if we had the 5 spot, then there would be a guard, and then we'd have to actually trade down to like the A spot and try to see if we can get something for it, or take somebody that was down to get a power forward or I don't think we need a center, but we might need a center now that we got rid of Drummond. It's hard to say right now.
Yeah. Anyway.
But we didn't lose. Last year was irritating because the Warriors moved up over everybody, and they deserved that about as much as Donald Trump deserves another cheeseburger.
That thing with the platters will always get me. I mean, all that money, and he bought that whole team burgers and fries.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, you got the greatest chef in the country sitting down, and they couldn't think to just tell him to whip something up, huh?
That's sad. Pizza, burger, and fries, man. It's just goes to show you where things are at. And yeah, that's pretty funny, RB. You had your beer when I said that. But yeah, everyone, I dropped the link in the description box. It's the second one, not the first one. Really super funny clips, about 3 minutes. But yeah, these shows are pointing out the simpery, and I like it because as soon as the normies wake up, that's when the real revolution can happen.
Right. Yeah. As soon as it's just men start to have a wake up, and then, well, we'll see what happens. There's still a lot of egotism and everything that needs to be busted through.
It'll take time. I mean, it won't be overnight, but it'll take time because it's the whole all the other stuff are phasing out. The books, the PUA stuff. I mean, they can't make money on that forever. So the message will be undefeated. It won't be altered. It'll be undefeated if anything. So I just sit back and I laugh at people that try. That money that they made isn't going to help them when everything hits the fan. If they didn't go off and make real skills, then they're not gonna make it. I mean, I've seen these same guys go off and make that their main source of income the whole time, and they're not even selling a product or anything that anybody needs. Right. And I mean, I used to feel sorry for them. Now I just really dislike guys like that. I mean, it was enough to make my freaking blood boil. I mean, you remember that time I almost made that 7-10 hour stream? That dude really pissed me off because he was like, not because of what he said to me, but the fact that he was purposely misleading other men and giving them bad information that will ultimately get them arrested or sued.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of guys that are like, hey, just go out and do that, and they don't realize what they're sending men out to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really silly. I mean, they have their own obsessions, and I really believe that a lot of them are mental because they act like they want to be some messiah or some kind of leader. Look at me, I got all like men pay me money to get them laid. I mean, it's borderline homoerotic and mental when anybody's tried to make themselves the god of sex or something. I mean, they sound crazy. If anyone doesn't believe me about that, go listen to them. Close your eyes. And then imagine a politician or somebody saying that. Imagine anybody of actual value saying that. Takes on a whole nother meaning. This is why a lot of people need to I'm all for moving to the rainforest, the woods, the mountains, anything that isn't up in the main, stream society because like live close, as the old saying goes, live close to a hospital, get a hospital far enough away from everything else, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
If anything. At least that's my take on it. I just it makes me sad that a lot of knowledge will be lost in the process because the men in my family, they always taught through story. They would tell me cautionary tales. I used to hate listening to those stories, but as I get older, I'm thankful for them now. I find myself listening to the elderly and accumulating, is just accumulating a bunch of stories, that hopefully I can, like, if someone talks to me, I can, like, pass on to them and just see where it goes. That's how we used to teach, but now things are just so, up in the air.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm looking for something. Just keep on going.
Yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. I like the idea. Hospital, like, yeah, that's good. That's a good strategy because you never know when you're gonna have an emergency. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the only thing the city has that I need is a hospital.
Yeah, I like where I live. I like upstate New York because there's a lot of rural areas, and then but you're still close to about 3 hospitals that are pretty good. They're all good because they're near a major university. That's another thing too. If you're near a major university, they're usually going to have a hospital there, right? Like 9 out of 100 times, right? So that might be a good spot to be in, like Bloomington, Indiana, places like that,
Yeah.
Iowa City, Iowa, places like that, like, because they have like the best research too in those areas where the universities are. Like the best, like there's a lot of good doctors that come out of those areas, so you get good medicine if you need it. Yeah, Cleveland's got that. What's that hospital? Cleveland's got Mayo Clinic.
Cleveland got Cleveland Clinic, and that's
Cleveland Clinic. Yeah, they're in Vegas too. Cleveland Clinic's in Vegas.
They're everywhere in the United States now, and it's a very good hospital. If you got, I mean, people come from all over the world to go there, and princes and kings, and it's one of the better hospitals for that. And they do leukemia. They have the leukemia thing, where they have a very high rate of curing leukemia.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I was telling me, we were talking about my buddy, and he chose to go to another hospital instead of Cleveland Clinic. I was like, what? He just likes it better. But I was like, in those kind of decisions, like, you got one of the better hospitals in the world right there.
Yep. I mean, I was going to tell people, I mean, there's lots of places where, they got specialists out there. Unless you got something just really, really rare, even then you should, kind of be fine. I think technology should flow with nature. We haven't found that perfect balance yet,
Right.
but I believe we will.
Yeah. Yeah, we should. Yeah, we've been going 3 hours and 9 minutes now, and I gotta consider
just getting warmed up.
Just getting warmed up to do 12 hours on Hoka. Yes. We just tell about all the episodes of what Hoka's done in this world, and just keep it going.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on, Trav. I appreciate it. That's good.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on, Black Wolf, too. Yeah, it's a good podcast.
It's always a pleasure, like talking to you guys. Thanks for having me, Trav and Joey. I appreciate these conversations. I always leave learning something, thinking about something new, or researching something. So I thank you greatly for that.
Yeah. We had a great conversation today. We covered a couple important subjects. Transcendence was the topic today, and think about the different kinds and what applies to Mgtow, what's off the field on Mgtow, and don't get sucked into the blue pill con on that. And just be Mgtow, use your brains, and that's all we have to do, and battle ignorance, and that's about it. Anything left to say?
Well, I guess I'll go. Always do research. Technology is getting better. There's hope for things, and try to be pessimistically optimistic, if anything.
Develop that personality trait of being optimistic.
Yeah, enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. You're not going to have all the answers. Yeah, nobody has all the answers, and anyone that tells you they know what happens after you die, all this kind of stuff, and they have all the answers, they're full of shit. So don't worry about anything. Just go out and have fun, and enjoy your life. Who cares?
Healthy ego and
have a carefree attitude. Have a carefree, happy attitude about life, because there's a lot of good things out there, and especially being a Mgtow, we don't have those dependents, so you're in a good position already.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Think about yourself kindly, and have a healthy ego, because that'll lead to great things in your life, and a little bit of self-confidence with that. And a lot of people, and we went through a period years ago where they say you got to destroy the ego. No, the ego's a natural part of the male, where we keep a healthy ego, and we build self-confidence, and we will do better, be better, and it leads to better things, and you'll self-confident people, those are the kind of guys that'll apply to 22 colleges instead of one. And do that for yourself, and that's what Mgtow is about. Consider yourself first, and then can't do nothing for society, and we can't have the society we want unless we do it, and that's going to take us. And with that, I want to thank all the guys that come around, Joey and Blackwell. Thanks for coming in, and Jigsaw, and all the other guys, the new guys that are coming in that I've seen today, and always remember, just thanks for being Mgtow's Mgtow.